I open an internet cafe in Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126, The Much Awaited Chunin Exam. The much anticipated third Chunin exam is finally here. In order not to miss this big show, Liang also closed his internet cafe for a day and walked to the competition venue with Bei, Zabuza, and Karen. Boss, how many people do you think will pass the exam and become Chunin this time? On the way, Bei and Liang, who were a little bored, talked about becoming Chunin. In terms of strength, these 8 people can all become Chunin, but you know, Chunin is not entirely based on strength, but also on brains, so I think there are not many who can become Chunin in this exam. There are 8 candidates, 5 from Konoha, namely, Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, Hyuga Hinata, and Nara Shikamaru. The 3 from Tsunagakure are Gaara, Kankuro, and Temari. Note 1. Just as Liang said, the strength of these 8 people is enough to become Chunin. But Chunin not only has to surpass the average genin in strength, but also has to be smart. After all, a Chunin at this level can already be responsible for leading a team, becoming the captain of a squad. If the brain is not working well, it will affect the entire squad. In Liang's opinion, among the 8 people, only Temari, Shikamaru and Sakura have the brains to be Chunin. As for the other 5, it's not that their brains are bad, but they still have character flaws. Kankuro is reckless, Gaara is irritable, Hyuga Hinata is shy and simple, and Uzumaki Naruto's stupidity and Uchiha Sasuke's arrogance. As time goes by, these 5 people will definitely improve their character flaws. If they don't improve, it's okay when their strength reaches a critical point. Just look at Ake, and you will know. He was able to become a Chunin, because when he was a genin, his physical skills were already unrivaled in the Chunin circle, so he was allowed to become a Chunin as an exception. Otherwise, with his brain and personality, it would be strange if he could become a Chunin. Then boss, do you have anyone you like? Well, I'm more optimistic about Shikamaru, followed by Sakura and Temari. Shikamaru? As an internet cafe waiter, Bei naturally knew Shikamaru, but he was a little confused. What was so good about this seemingly lazy guy that was worthy of Liang's attention? Hey, don't you know that this guy's IQ is over 200? Exclamation mark. Bei was surprised. He really didn't know that Shikamaru's brain was so good. An IQ over 200 is simply not a human. So, boss, do you mean that Naruto and Sasuke are all idiots? Hearing that Naruto was not among the candidates in Liang's mind, Karen immediately started to complain. In a sense, these 2 people are indeed idiots. Karen thought Liang would cover it up, but she didn't expect him to admit it. Why are they stupid? She also wanted to ask Liang why he said they were idiots. Sasuke was fine, but Naruto was definitely not an idiot. But Liang didn't give her a chance to finish her words and interrupted her directly, saying, "Okay, the competition is about to start. Let's go in first." After being interrupted by Liang, Karen didn't continue to ask questions. After taking out the ticket that Jiraiya gave him yesterday, the few of them entered the venue smoothly. After finding a seat to sit down casually, Liang looked around and found that he didn't see any familiar people. This is just right, so that he doesn't have to take care of this and that after the fight. Not long after Liang and his 4 companions sat down, as the examiner in charge of this exam, Shiranuma notified the contestants of the first game to appear. The first game was Uzumaki Naruto vs Kankuro. Examiner, I give up. Just as Naruto stepped onto the field with full confidence, Kankuro and the contestant rest area chose to give up for some unknown reason. This choice not only made Shiranuma feel incomprehensible, but also surprised the audience. You know, this is the last competition of the Chunin exam. If you don't want to be a Chunin, why do you participate in the competition? If you want to be a Chunin, why do you admit defeat? It's incomprehensible. First match, Uzumaki Naruto wins. As Naruto won without any effort, he did not make a scene, but shrugged his shoulders and returned to the rest area for the players. Second match, Nera Shikamaru vs. Temari. This time, Temari, who was on the Tsunagakure side, did not give up and admit defeat, but appeared on the field in a heroic manner. What a trouble. Shikamaru still appeared on the field while saying trouble. If he dared to give up and admit defeat like Kankuro, he would probably be beaten by his parents in a mixed doubles match when he returned. Match, start. Both of them came to the field, and after making sure that both of them were ready, Shiranagema announced the start of the match. Ding 1 star. The moment the match started, Temari opened her fan a little, revealing one of the 3 stars on the fan, and used the wind ninjutsu. Ding, this kind of wind ninjutsu, let alone the enhanced Shikamaru. Even the Shikamaru in the original book could not hit it. With the help of the cloud-tearing jump, Shikamaru leaped into the air and shouted biu 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 at Temari. Temari had seen Shikamaru's 6 Meridians Divine Sword when the second match started. This time, she did the same as Ino did before and tried her best to dodge, but dodging was useless. The reason why Shikamaru didn't dare to get close to Ino when he faced her was because he was afraid that Ino would control him with the heart-turning technique first. Temari didn't know any heart-turning technique, so Shikamaru approached boldly. 2 stars. Shikamaru's cloud-tearing jump can borrow power once in the air, which Temari naturally knew. Now seeing Shikamaru approaching with all his strength, she quickly opened the fan a little more, revealing the 2 stars inside, and used a stronger wind escape technique than before. Facing Temari's wind escape attack, Shikamaru in the air could only step on his right foot with his left foot to borrow power to dodge, and at the same time, use the 6 Meridians Divine Sword again to prevent Temari from attacking in a row. What a hassle. After landing, Shikamaru couldn't help but say it was a hassle again, looking at Temari who had distanced herself from him. After saying that, he took off his coat and threw it towards the sky in Temari's direction. At the same time, Shikamaru quickly took out a kunai and threw it directly at Temari. Again, Ino was attracted by the coat that Shikamaru took off at the beginning, so she would not repeat the same mistake. She jumped to the left to avoid the thrown kunai, then waved the fan in her hand vigorously at the coat in the sky and directly blew the coat away. Now let's see how you can use your coat to attract my attention. Putting down the fan, Temari looked at Shikamaru with a cocky look on her face. At this time, Shikamaru smiled and said, "Shadow imitation technique, success." Chapter 127, Hinata vs Sakura. When being entangled by Shikamaru's shadow, Temari was shocked. "You are too cautious. If you had ignored my coat instead of blowing it away, you would have found my shadow." It turned out that Shikamaru used the influence of the coat in the second extra game and threw it at Temari. If Temari ignored it, he would attack from other directions. Unexpectedly, Temari was so afraid of this coat that she was attracted to it, causing her own shadow to entangle her easily. "I give up. Being entangled by a shadow means there is nothing to say." Temari generously admitted defeat directly and did not give Shikamaru a chance to admit defeat as in the original book. Second game, Nera Shikamaru wins. Please enter the venue for the third game. Maybe Shikamaru won too quickly and too plainly, which made the surrounding audience feel a little angry. Originally, Kankuro's withdrawal from the first game made these people dissatisfied. Now Shikamaru's game ended so quickly. Is he sure he is not playing tricks on them? They came here to watch the competition, to see the gorgeous big moves, the physical competition of fists and flesh, not to watch some blitzkrieg. So, when the candidates for the third match entered the venue, there was a burst of boos around. The boos made the third Hokage frown. Uzumaki Naruto and Nera Shikamaru defeated Kankuro and Temari of Tsunagakure respectively, which was good. But it was not good that the way they won caused dissatisfaction among the audience. These people were just spectators in a small sense, and they were the breadwinners of Konoha in a big sense. If the parents were not satisfied, then it would not be good. Go tell Hinata and Sakura to fight more fiercely. Yes, Hokage. Swish the Anbu took the order and left. It seems that Hokage-sama attaches great importance to the 2 candidates who will appear next, but they are just some genin. How fierce can they fight? Doesn't Kazukage-sama care about the 2 candidates from your village? Sarutobi Hiruzen did not answer the question of the 4th Kazukage, but raised his own question instead. As ninjas from the Send village, I believe they will adjust themselves. Haha, just like you believe in the ninjas from your own village, I believe in them too, and I believe they will not let me down. Really? Then I'll wait and see. While the third Hokage was talking to the fourth Kazekage, the Embu also passed on the Hokage's request to Hinata and Sakura. Faced with the Hokage's request, the two naturally had no objection. The third match, Hyuga Hinata vs Hiruno Sakura. Match, start. On the field, when the examiner announced the start of the match, Hinata tapped her feet and rushed straight towards Sakura. Sakura also reacted quickly, immediately backing away, while pointing her left index finger at Hinata. One yang finger. BIU one yang finger, like the Six Meridian's divine sword, can be used as a long-range attack. However, this is a martial art that relies on acupuncture and healing as its main features. It cannot be fired continuously like the Six Meridian's divine sword. It needs a certain amount of time to buffer after using it once. We call this buffer time CD. Sakura's one finger of the sun didn't hit Hinata, and Hinata dodged it easily. Sakura wanted to take advantage of the cooldown time of Sakura's one finger of the sun to quickly approach. Whether it was Hinata's family martial arts soft fist or the real martial arts Teikai she chose from the legend of Jin Yang, close combat was needed to exert its power. Sakura knew that, if Hinata approached her, she would almost lose. Her close combat ability was not as good as Hinata's. So in order to avoid being approached, after the one finger of the sun was dodged, she immediately raised the staff in her right hand and began to use the 5 element spells. Ice Curse, Flame Curse, Earth Curse, Thunder Curse, Wind Curse. In a short period of time, Sakura fired 5 element spells in a row. In the eyes of the uninformed, the 5 element spells were just ninjutsu. Seeing the appearance of 5 attribute ninjutsu, the audience was immediately excited. This is what the audience wants. They don't care who wins or loses the game, they just want the game to be exciting. Undoubtedly, normal games are exciting in their eyes. The coldness of the Ice Curse, the heat of the Fire Curse, the thickness of the Earth Curse, the thunderbolt of the Lightning Curse, and the strong wind of the Wind Curse made the audience intoxicated and crazy. TSK, a group of people who have never seen the world. In the audience, Liang and his friends did not make such a shameful move. He just felt a little strange. Was Sakura's attack frequency a bit too high? Did her chakra increase again? Ignoring Liang's doubts, on the field, facing Sakura's 5 element spells, Hinata dodged very awkwardly. The Ice Curse and Wind Curse were responsible for controlling the field. The Earth Curse was responsible for forcing Hinata to move, and the Fire Curse and Lightning Curse were responsible for output. It can be said that Sakura also spent a lot of thought on the use of the 5 element spells, trying her best to use the power of the spells. Damn, I can't dodge it. Another round of spell attacks. Hinata was forced into a desperate situation by Sakura. There was no other way. She gritted her teeth and used the moves she had just learned. At this moment, all the acupuncture points in Hinata's body began to release chakra, and at the same time, she quickly rotated her body to make the chakra form a spherical barrier. This is the Hyuga family's absolute defense Kaiten. Boom boom, the collision of Kaiten and the 5 element spells produced a fierce explosion. This explosion not only did not scare the audience, but made them more excited. Seeing this scene, Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded with satisfaction and seemed to approve of Hinata and Sakura's performance. I didn't expect that Konoha's genin would have such strength. It seems that we are really old and can't keep up with the times. Haha, Lord Kazekage is too modest. I still want to work for a few more years. The fourth Kazekage and the third Hokage were fighting on the sidelines, but Hinata, who had used the Kaiten technique once, couldn't stand it and was watching Sakura gasping for breath with vigilance. Hinata had more chakra than Sakura, but the Kaiten technique consumed a lot of chakra. In the original work, even Niji had to give up after using it a few times, not to mention Hinata, who was 1 year younger than Niji. Hinata was gasping for breath, and Sakura was not feeling well either. She had consumed a lot of energy from using the 5 element spells in succession. Both of them consumed a lot, so it depends on who has stronger willpower and more means of attack. Willpower aside, it is obvious that Sakura has more means of attack. There is a saying that goes, as long as they are not pulled into close range, the mage is the father of the warrior. Sakura had never heard of this saying, but it didn't stop her from doing so. After a short pause, Sakura started attacking again. This time she didn't use the 5 elements spells, but Zeolinger's only witchcraft, Humeng. Chapter 128, Zabuza. That's right, a few days before the exam, Sasuke sponsored Sakura to enter the training room again. This time, Sakura did not learn any of the 5 elements spells in the second stage, but instead learned the witchcraft of returning to dreams. In the game, returning to dreams can make the enemy sleep for 5 rounds. In reality, returning to dreams is like an illusion, which can make people fall into dreams. Seeing Sakura raising her staff, Hinata thought she was going to attack with the 5 elements spell again, so she quickly got into position and concentrated her attention, waiting for the attack to come, and tried to avoid it. Unfortunately, this time Sakura used a similar illusion to returning to dreams. Hinata was caught off guard. Hinata, who was trapped in the dream, immediately felt something was wrong and gathered chakra, as if to break through the illusion. Don't say it, this dream was really broken by her. Unfortunately, her speed was still a little slow. The moment she broke through the dream and returned to reality, Sakura used a one yang finger to directly point acupuncture Hinata. This point pressing immobilization is not something that can be done in a short time. At least Hinata needs to break through the acupuncture points and regain her mobility, which will take at least several minutes. In a few minutes, the opportunity is gone. So, when she was immobilized, Hinata generously admitted defeat. The winner of the third game, Hiruno Sakura. This game was wonderful in the eyes of the audience, and Hiruno Sakura, the female ninja, deserved their applause. Did Sakura learn the skill of returning to dreams this time? When Hinata stood still and let Sakura's one finger of the sun hit her, Liang knew that Hinata had been hit. Among Zeolinger's spells, only the skill of returning to dreams can make people stand still. I don't know what Sasuke and Naruto have learned. Sakura was sponsored by Sasuke to enter the training room again, so he couldn't be partial to one over the other. Otherwise Naruto would definitely annoy him to death. The heavenly sword and the sword controlling technique, if they didn't take shortcuts, they would definitely not be able to learn it by only entering the training room once. Naruto and Sasuke might be so stupid that they wasted all their time on the heavenly sword. Especially Naruto. Even if he learned the heavenly sword, he couldn't use it with the elementary magic sword he was using. The skills in Diablo 2 don't match their fighting style, so it's probably the character abilities from the King of Fighters 97 that they practiced. I don't know which character's ability it is. I'm really looking forward to it. Liang was looking forward to it, but he didn't show it on his face. Instead, he secretly raised his vigilance. Shiro, Zabuza, if things go wrong later, you two take Karen to the internet cafe. Here, this is the key to open the door of the internet cafe. The key is just a toy to fool people. If you want to open the door of the internet cafe, you still need the permission given by Liang to open it. What's the matter? Is it possible that something bad will happen later? Hearing what Liang said, the three of them immediately became nervous. Haku and Zabuza were better off. After all, they were both rebel ninjas. During those years of being cool in the ninja world, they had seen some things. Karen was different. She had been in Kusagakure village since she could remember, and Kusagakure village was not considered a strong village in the ninja world, so she would appear extremely nervous when facing some things. I estimate that Konoha will become a battlefield in a while, but don't worry, as long as you return to the internet cafe, you will be safe. If you are really worried, it's not too late to leave and return to the internet cafe now. Boss, that's not the case. Even though Zabuza had become an idiot, he was still knowledgeable. When he heard Liang say such incredible words, he instinctively wanted to object. Konoha is one of the 5 major villages anyway. Even if it is a little weak now, a lean camel is bigger than a horse. What blind idiots would come to provoke Konoha? Hearing Zabuza's words of disbelief, Liang did not continue to explain, but looked at him with a strange face and said, "Okay, I will find a time to tell him what you said about him being an idiot." Scared? Zabuza was shocked. From what he said, the person who provoked Konoha was someone he knew? I know this person. I know him. You just met not long ago. When you saw him, you immediately became scared. I don't call this a scare. I call this a strategic retreat. Only by preserving yourself can you have a chance to take revenge. Wait, boss, are you talking about? Since Zabuza and Haku were brought back to Konoha by Team 7, the two's activities have been very simple. In addition to the Uchiha old house where they stayed, they went to the internet cafe where they worked. They didn't encounter any difficult characters in the Uchiha old house, but they did meet Konoha-san in the internet cafe. Jiraiya would definitely not attack Konoha, as this is a direct line of the Hokage. In this case, the person who dared to attack Konoha is about to be revealed. You are right, it is Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas. Goodbye. After confirming that it was Orochimaru, Zabuza pulled Karin up and ran away without saying a word. Soon they left the competition venue and returned to the internet cafe. What about you? Why don't you leave with Zabuza? I think you, boss, won't let others hurt your staff. Liang did not answer directly, but from his expression, it can be seen that if you want to hurt your employees in front of him, no way. The two sides of the 4th game are Gaara and Uchiha Sasuke. While Liang was talking, the two had already started to fight. The situation of this game is similar to that of Naruto vs Gaara in the Death Forest. Naruto has an advantage when facing Gaara, and Sasuke also has an advantage when facing Gaara, and his advantage is even greater than Naruto. After all, Sasuke's weapon is an intermediate magic sword. Whether from the angle of sharpness or hardness, it is completely better than the primary magic sword. At the beginning of the game, Sasuke opened up the distance with Gaara, and attacked directly with the sword control technique. Gaara-san can't even defend against Naruto's primary magic sword, let alone Sasuke's intermediate magic sword. If it weren't for the fact that they were both customers of the internet cafe and had some friendship, Sasuke would have used all his strength to poke Gaara with the magic sword. The sand has little effect on Sasuke, and Sasuke can fly, which makes it more difficult for Gaara to attack Sasuke. TSK, it's really difficult. It seems that I have to use my ultimate move in advance. In fact, Gaara didn't want to do this, especially after seeing the magical power of the internet cafe. He thought that, even if he released Shukaku, it would be impossible to capture Konoha. Unfortunately, this mission was approved by the top leaders of Tsunagakure. If he dared to disobey, even if his father was the 4th Kazekage, he would be waiting for death when he returned. So he had no choice but to act according to the original plan. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129 Konoha Collapse Plan. Gaara saw an opportunity and successfully avoided Sasuke's attack. He then wrapped himself with a lot of sand and soon formed a huge hard sand ball. Ding what? My intermediate magic sword can't pierce it. Gaara's sand has always been so fragile when facing the attack of the magic sword. But now, when Gaara condenses chakra to turn the sand into a spherical object, even Sasuke's intermediate magic sword can't pierce this ball without using all his strength. Hey, I don't believe it. Sasuke didn't believe it and controlled the flying sword to continue attacking the ball. After each unsuccessful attack, he would increase his strength in the next attack. When he used all his strength, the magic sword finally pierced into the ball and injured Gaara. At this time, bursts of golden feathers floated down from the sky. Konoha's collapse plan began. Are they coming? Liang looked at the feathers in front of him and didn't care. He didn't have chakra, and these illusions couldn't affect him at all. He was too lazy to even make a seal. Bei, who was beside him, reacted quickly because of the reminder just now, and directly made a seal to dispel the illusion. The Konoha Jonin and Anbu who were ambushing in the venue were a step behind Bei, because they did not have Liang's reminder, but they were not affected by the illusion. Well, let's start. Orochimaru, who was disguised as the 4th Kazekage, said calmly in the VIP stand. Bang! The Sand Village Jonin threw the smoke bomb on the ground, forming a huge smoke, making it difficult to see what was happening inside. Swoosh! A black shadow rushed out of the smoke and landed on the rooftop of the venue. A closer look revealed that it was the 4th Kazekage who kidnapped the 3rd Hokage. At this time, even the dumbest person knew that the sand ninja was going to attack Konoha. Chase. The Enbu who were guarding the third Hokage hurried to the roof of the venue. They were about to catch up, but Orochimaru didn't give them a chance. He looked at the flying Enbu coldly and said, "Go." After receiving the order, the 4 Otanin who had been lying in ambush on the roof began to cast hand seals. Ninjutsu. 4 purple flame formation. Purple light walls rose on all sides, hindering the pursuit of the Enbu. Oh. A small fry actually slipped in. Orochimaru looked at an Enbu who rushed in with disdain. It turned out that before the 4 successfully cast the barrier, an Enbu had already rushed in and was not blocked by the 4 purple flame formation. Forget it, it's just a small fry, it can't cause any trouble. Orochimaru no longer paid attention to the Enbu who ran in, but turned to look at the 3rd generation who was held hostage by him. I didn't expect the sand ninja to betray Konoha. The 3rd generation who was held hostage said calmly without any panic. The treaty is just a trick to make the opponent relax. Orochimaru interrupted what the 3rd generation was going to say next. The boring game ends here. I will rewrite history at this moment. Lord Kazakage, we should avoid using force and seek to solve the problem in a peaceful way. The 3rd generation tried his best to persuade him. Orochimaru closed his eyes and laughed in a low voice. Are you suffering from Alzheimer's disease as you get older? Sarutobi teacher. At this time, Orochimaru suddenly showed his true face. You. Orochimaru. The 3rd generation's pupils shrank. The scene returned to the field. Temari and Kankuro stood on both sides of the sand ball. Maki, the leader of the sand ninja team, had also appeared in front of Shiranagenma. Gaara, it's time to start the plan. Hey, what's going on? Sasuke, who was confused by the sudden change, asked curiously. Sorry, the Chunin exam is over. The toothpick man spit out the toothpick in his mouth. You have reached the level of Chunin. Since you are a ninja of Konoha, do something useful for Konoha to stop the ninjas of Sand Village. TSK, really, how could this happen? Sasuke looked around and saw that the scene was in chaos. The Sound Ninja and Sand Ninja were constantly attacking the ninjas of Konoha. When Sasuke wanted to help, Naruto came down. Sasuke, don't go to help. First deal with all the Sand Ninjas in the field. Naruto looked at Temari and Kankuro next to Gaara. What about you? Sasuke asked with a frown. Me. Naruto looked at the sand ball still in the field helplessly. Leave this the most troublesome one to me. Hearing this, Sasuke immediately refused, but when he thought of Naruto's identity as the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki and looked at Gaara, the One-Tails Jinchuriki, Sasuke acquiesced to Naruto's arrangement. At this time, there was movement from Gaara's side. Roar, roar, woo. As Gaara roared, the sand ball began to crack little by little, and then what was revealed was Gaara in the shape of a raccoon cat. Haven't you turned into a perfect form yet? Maki looked at Gaara and said, it doesn't matter, let's deal with those to Konoha Genin first. Even though he had seen the magic of the internet cafe, Maki didn't believe that there was anyone among the Genin who could defeat Gaara in a half-perfect form. Then let's warm up the scene first. Maki looked at Shiranagenma and rushed up. Gaara has already started to transform. You have to leave quickly. Otherwise, it will be bad if you get hurt by mistake. Temari and Kankuro looked at each other and rushed out of the field. TSK, don't even think about running away. Seeing Temari and Kankuro were about to run, Sasuke hurried over. Roar, roar. Uzumaki Naruto, what are you fighting for? As he began to transform, Gaara's consciousness became more and more confused, and his whole appearance became hideous and terrifying. Why am I fighting? Naruto looked straight at Gaara. Because there are people I cherish here. I want to protect them. Naruto said slowly. Gaara's consciousness became more and more confused. After a cry of pain, he began to go crazy. Go to hell. Sand shuriken. Dozens of sand bullets shot at Naruto quickly. Naruto jumped to avoid the attack. At the same time, Naruto in the air also separated several shadow clones. At the moment, when the shadow clones were separated, Gaara, who had already half transformed, also jumped and approached Naruto. It seems that he wants to fight Naruto in close combat. Seeing this, Naruto frowned. If it were the past, he would definitely have a headache. In addition to the straightforward dragon elephant prajna, he had no other close combat moves. Now it is different. In addition to the dragon elephant prajna, he can also Rasengan. Bang! A Rasengan hit Gaara's cheek, causing him to fly backwards and fall heavily to the ground. Chapter 130 Battle. Ping. After another round of close combat, Maki and the toothpick man separated. Shiranagenma glanced at Naruto and said proudly, "It seems that our Konoha ninjas have the upper hand." Humph. Maki rushed up again waving the wind blade without saying a word, and Shiranagenma also drew out the elementary magic sword that he exchanged during the internet cafe's event. "This is the first time I use the magic sword to perform the Dugun 9 swords. Don't die like this. Humph, don't underestimate me." In addition to resisting the attacks of the invading ninjas, the few remaining ninjas in the stands also paid attention to the changes in the field. Sakura, the only awake genin, looked at the field with even more worry. Sakura. Hearing Kakashi's shout, Sakura looked back and saw two sound ninjas rushing towards her. She was about to be hit. Suddenly, Sakura ducked and dodged the two straight punches. She held the magic staff with both hands and swept it horizontally, knocking the two out. At the same time, the staff pointed at the two people who were flying out, and a flaming curse appeared, burning the two people to death. Seeing that Sakura was safe and sound, Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief. "Sakura, go and dispel the illusion quickly, and call Shikamaru, Ino, Choji, Kiba and Hinata. By the way, it's been a long time since I did a high-level mission." Kakashi killed another sneak attack ninja while talking. "This is an A-level mission, defend Konoha." Sakura's face tightened, but soon returned to normal. After helping Ino and the others dispel the illusion, Sakura asked, "How do we carry out this mission?" She looked at Naruto who was fighting in the field. "Should we help Naruto?" "No," Shikamaru said decisively. "The gap between us and Naruto is too big. If we go rashly, we will only become a burden to him." Shikamaru observed the surroundings. "A head-on confrontation is not conducive to our performance. Let's leave here first." Shikamaru commanded the team to run out of the broken hole. Hinata, who left last, looked back at Naruto. "Naruto, come on. Rasengan." After repelling Gaara with the Rasengan once again, Naruto felt very troubled when he saw Gaara recovering immediately. "What should I do? I can't knock him out. It will be even more difficult if Shukaku comes out. You guy." Gaara's eyes condensed, and he screamed madly. Roar oh 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 oh. Boom. As the smoke dissipated, a huge figure appeared. It was Shukaku. Is it finally out? Gaara in this state is undoubtedly very powerful, and Naruto has no absolute confidence that he can win. But whether he can win or not, he has to fight to know. But this is the venue, and the battlefield cannot be chosen here, otherwise Gaara in this state will kill who knows how many unconscious spectators. He can't stay in the venue anymore, otherwise when the fight starts, these people won't be able to save their lives. Naruto decided to open up the battlefield. Is the complete form finally out? Maki looked at Gaara and Shukaku state with satisfaction, and was the first to leave the battlefield and run out of the venue. If he didn't run it this time, he might be injured by mistake. This is Shukaku of the Sand. Kakashi and Kei looked at its body in shock. The Sand Ninja actually brought the Jinchuriki with him. It's really unforgivable. The third generation was rarely angry. Teacher Sarutobi, you actually have time to look outside at this time. Orochimaru smiled grimly. Let's deal with the small fry first. With a swoosh, Orochimaru rushed out like a spring, spit out a sword from his mouth, and stabbed at the Enbu who rushed in. The Enbu didn't dodge or evade, and formed a seal on the spot. Ninjutsu random lion hair jutsu. His hair suddenly grew up, and tied up Orochimaru who was rushing towards him. What? Looking at the hair rushing in front of him, Orochimaru's pupils shrank, and he turned around, let the hair go, and his body stopped. You are Jiraiya for this ninjutsu. Hey, Orochimaru, long time no see. Seeing that he was seen through by Orochimaru, Jiraiya cancelled his transformation technique. No wonder the old man was so calm. It turns out you were there. Orochimaru looked unhappy. But, shouldn't you have been lured away by my people? Why are you here? Orochimaru, you underestimate me too much. Do you think you can seduce me with just 2 beauties? I tell you, That's impossible. Oh. It seems you are not that lustful. Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya again in surprise. He wanted to praise this guy, but he was interrupted by Jiraiya before he could finish his words. If you want to seduce me, you should arrange at least 5 beauties. You only arrange 2. Who are you looking down on? Well, you are still the idiot I know. After saying that, Orochimaru no longer paid attention to Jiraiya and turned to look at Shukaku outside, his eyes excited. Look. Konoha village will soon become history. The windmill will start turning soon. TSK. Jiraiya looked disdainful of his words, but he was very worried in his heart. Everyone, Konoha depends on you. While everyone was fighting hard, Liang and Bei had been sitting in their seats in the venue without moving. What was even more strange was that no ninja came to find him. It's really boring. I wanted to do some good activities. Boss, is this a fishing enforcement? Shaking his head, looking at Naruto who wanted to lure Shukaku out, Liang didn't want to stay here any longer. What if Sarutobi Hiruzen asked him for help? Rescue was not in line with his original intention. No matter what, Sarutobi Hiruzen is still the Hokage. If he doesn't stay in office for a long time, he may be hostile to some Konoha ninjas. So in order to avoid this dilemma, he decided to leave with Bei. Bei, come up. The flying sword was unsheathed. If you want to watch the show from the whole venue, the sky is undoubtedly a very good choice. Go to the sky. Let's not talk about Liang and Bei who are watching the show in the sky. Now the scene returns to Naruto. Such a big body, I don't know if it can be pulled or not. There is no other way. Let's borrow the power of the Nine Tails. Naruto glanced at Shukaku and flew out of the venue on the flying sword. Perhaps it was because he was particularly eye-catching flying in the air. Gaara in the Shukaku state saw Naruto instantly and stretched out his hand in Naruto's direction. Sand coffin. The sand and dust in the air quickly wrapped Naruto. I dodge. Controlling the flying sword, Naruto struggled to avoid the attack of the sand. Turning back to Shukaku, Nine Trumpet. Get ready, I'm going to summon you. Naruto called out in his heart. It turns out that during the time he trained with Jiraiya, Naruto not only learned the Rasengan from him, but also learned summoning techniques. Chapter 131 8 Wine Cups and the Great Snake. However, Naruto did not write his name on the scroll of the summoning toad, but he wanted to try to summon the Nine Tails. What summoned beast could be more powerful than the Nine Tails? The result of the discussion with the Nine Tails satisfied Naruto. Although the Nine Tails summoned was not in its complete form due to the existence of the seal, it could only have 70% of the Nine Tails power at most, and there was a time limit. But even so, Naruto was very satisfied. Naruto, there is no need to summon me. Just as Naruto was about to summon, the Nine Tails' strange and magnetic voice sounded in Naruto's ears, interrupting him. Shukaku in this state is not the complete form of Shukaku. I will just give you some of my power. Xiangsheng said, and red chakra spread all over Naruto's body. Naruto was wrapped in strong chakra, and his clothes also fluttered with the chakra. This evil feeling is not. Kakashi instantly opened his Sharingan and looked outside the field. Nine Tails. Is he out? The third generation looked at Naruto anxiously. At this time, Orochimaru was not in a hurry. Naruto's Nine Tails would be beneficial to him. If he transformed into the Nine Tails within the range of Konoha village, Konoha village would be destroyed faster. Moreover, it was 2-1 now. If he rashly used the impure world transformation, it would be broken by Jiraiya and the third generation. Not only would it be useless, but it would consume a lot of chakra. This feeling? Gaara knew that Naruto was also a monster like him, but he didn't know it was the Nine Tails. Now looking at a red dot in the distance, even though his consciousness was completely confused, he had a feeling called fear. This feeling of full power. Naruto looked at his hands excitedly. It's great. Naruto stretched out his right hand, and at the same time, a blue flame suddenly emerged from the palm of his right hand. Reichi style Yakuja, that's right. The ability that Naruto chose to practice the second time he entered the training room was Iri Yagumi's ability. Compared with the terrifying 8 girls in close combat, the characteristics of Reichi style Yakuja are undoubtedly more powerful. In a limited time, he naturally had to choose a skill that would help him more. As one of the 3 divine skills, the Rihachi style 8 wine cups would consume a lot of chakra even with Naruto's current chakra. No matter what, he now has the 9 tails chakra, so there is no problem using this divine skill. Wow, it feels so dangerous. Gaara is not an idiot. Seeing such a blue flame attacking him, his first feeling is to dodge. It's just that his body is too big now, and it feels very strenuous to move like a human. So it's no surprise that Shukaku's body was hit. After being hit by the Rihachi style 8 wine cups, Shukaku's consciousness suddenly became blank, and his thinking stopped, as if time was stopped artificially. Seeing Shukaku hit, Naruto quickly controlled the flying sword to fly over, wanting to take advantage of Shukaku's dementia state to completely deal with it. Unfortunately, Shukaku is not a complete form yet, and there is still a Gaara on its forehead. It was hit, but Gaara was not. It's so fun. Uzumaki Naruto. The feeling of fear made Gaara extremely excited. He roared, "To thank you for letting me enjoy the fun, I will let you see the true power of the monster in my body." Sleeping technique. After Gaara made a seal, his head slowly lowered, and it seemed that he fell asleep directly. As Gaara fell asleep, the 8 cups of the 8 Sake cups, which could have controlled Shukaku for a while, was instantly broken. The real Shukaku finally came out. Ha 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 ha. I can finally come out. Shukaku roared loudly. Disgusting chakra smell. It's from that fox. I'm going to kill you. Shukaku pointed directly at Naruto in the sky. But before attacking Naruto, Shukaku actually retracted Gaara. Oh no, it actually put the medium back into its body. Now there is no way to wake up Gaara. Naruto found that Shukaku had become smarter. There is no other way. I can only use my ultimate move. Use the 10,000 swords technique. Swish, swish, swish. As Naruto used the 10,000 swords technique, the flying swords under his feet immediately began to increase. Go 10,000 arrows rushed straight to Shukaku. What a spectacular scene. Facing the attack, Shukaku used sand to block it as much as he could, and turned his head to Konoha village to fire a shot. Wind style air bomb. Fortunately, it's not the tailed beast ball. When Naruto saw Shukaku facing the flying sword attack, and pointing his mouth at Konoha, his heart tightened. When he saw that it was not the tailed beast ball, but the air bomb, he was relieved. In Konoha now, except for Liang, there is no one who can catch the nuclear bomb with bare hands. However, the air bomb ninjutsu also depends on who uses it. If it is used by ordinary ninjas, the power is naturally so-so. But the air bomb used by Shukaku is naturally incomparable. Wow. Seeing Shukaku attacking, the ninjas in the venue were shocked and scattered immediately. However, it was very difficult to dodge such a large chakra bullet. So why didn't they use defensive ninjutsu? Don't be funny. These ninjas who stayed in the venue were all normal ninjas. They were not like Hashirama Senju, who could use ninjutsu with just a clap of his hands. They needed to make hand seals to use ninjutsu. With the speed and size of the air bomb, they had no time to make hand seals. Fortunately, at the critical moment, a figure blocked the venue. 10,000 swords art guarded may have inspired Sasuke during the battle with Lee. The move of 10,000 swords art can not only be used for attack, but also for defense. The dense flying swords rotated to form a flying sword shield, which successfully blocked the attack of the air bomb. Fortunately, I caught up. To be honest, it took Sasuke some time to deal with Temari and Kankuro. The main reason is that Kankuro and Temari both know Sasuke's strength. They know that there is no hope of winning, so their strategy for Sasuke is to delay. Try their best to delay Sasuke so that he cannot support the other ninjas. Unfortunately, Sasuke's strength is indeed beyond their ability to resist. If they didn't have a little friendship, they couldn't even delay Sasuke for a second. It's such a Sasuke. A ninja saw the identity of that person with sharp eyes. Suddenly, all the ninjas from Konoha and other villages were full of gratitude to Sasuke. After all, that air drill doesn't distinguish between enemies and friends. Naruto, buy me some time. After solving the air drill, Sasuke flew directly towards Shukaku. No problem, Sasuke. From the fact that Shukaku can defend and attack at the same time, it can be seen that the attack of the 10,000 swords technique seems a bit painless to Shukaku. But Naruto has no choice. In addition to the 8 wine cups, the 10,000 swords technique is his strongest move now. If he is alone, it would be difficult to deal with Shukaku, unless he summons the Ninetales. But with Sasuke, it's different. Chapter 132 Battle. Like Naruto, Sasuke chose to learn the abilities of the characters in the King of Fighters 97 the second time he entered the training room. Unlike Naruto's Irie Yagami, he chose Irie Yagami's nemesis, Kyoku Sanaji, and 108 Styles, Great Orochi Naji, is the new move he learned. The attack method of this move is to gather the flames of Kusanagi in the hand and swing it at the opponent at once. The power of this move may not be very strong at the beginning, but as time goes by, the flames condensed in the hand will become stronger and stronger. It can be said that the power of this move has no upper limit. Of course, the longer the flames condense, the more difficult it is to control, and if you are not careful, you may set yourself on fire. At Sasuke's current level, condensing a flame for 10 seconds is already the limit. So, children must not play with fire. Not only will they wet the bed, but they are also easy to hurt themselves. Sasuke, are you ready? I can't hold you back any longer. In order to delay Sasuke for enough time, Naruto was also ruthless and input all his chakra into the 10,000 swords technique. Quantitative change leads to qualitative change. Even if the flying swords can do limited damage to Shukaku, facing the overwhelming flying sword attacks, even Shukaku can't spare any extra energy to deal with Sasuke. However, this extreme squeeze output also consumed all of Naruto's chakra. If it weren't for the Ninetales chakra, he would have fainted at this time. Okay, Shukaku, take my move of Orochi. In just 10 seconds, Sasuke had to concentrate on condensing the flames and also spare a little energy to observe Shukaku. The pressure he endured was no less than Naruto. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. The hot flames directly attacked Shukaku's body, causing Shukaku to scream. Damn, what kind of flame is this? As we all know, the essence of the tailed beasts is chakra. Some ninjutsu that seem very powerful to ninjas are actually just that in the eyes of the tailed beasts. If you want to hurt the tailed beasts, the most effective way is to use sealing techniques, and then add natural energy to the fairy techniques. Shukaku thought that, even if Sasuke's move of Orochimaru could hurt him, it would probably be very limited. He didn't expect that when the flame hit him, the scorching flame would be like a maggot on the tarsal bone, difficult to extinguish. The flame burned the sky. Shukaku couldn't bear such pain, and directly retracted into Gaara's body, and returned the control of his body to Gaara. At the moment when Shukaku retracted, the flame suddenly disappeared. We won this time. Yes, we won. The impact of Sasuke and Naruto's battle against Shukaku was undoubtedly far-reaching. Many ninjas on the Konoha side have already rethought the changes that internet cafes have brought to the ninja world. However, the situation on the Sand Village and Sound Village is not very good. Originally, when the Kazekage turned into Orochimaru, the Sand Village side had already felt a little uneasy. Unless something unexpected happened, there is no reason why the Kazekage would let Orochimaru pretend to be himself. Now seeing that Shukaku, who was the trump card, was defeated again, the morale of the Sand Village and Sound Village coalition plummeted for a while. That monster actually lost. Lying in a hidden place, Temari and Kankuro looked at each other, their eyes full of disbelief. In their eyes, the invincible Shukaku was actually defeated. It's incredible. Orochimaru, who had experienced the war, naturally knew how difficult the tailed beasts were. He didn't expect that Shukaku would be defeated by Naruto and Sasuke. Outsiders only thought that his sigh was about Naruto and Sasuke, but in fact, he was sighing about the internet cafe opened by Liang. If it weren't for the internet cafe, even if Naruto could transform into the Ninetales, it would take a long time to defeat Shukaku. The reason why they became so powerful was entirely because of the internet cafe. After defeating Shukaku, the Ninetales took back its chakra and faded the red chakra on its body, and Naruto collapsed instantly. Fortunately, you are here. Fortunately, Sasuke was here, otherwise he could only summon the Ninetales. The appearance of the Ninetales may cause unnecessary trouble. After all, the fourth Hokage died because of the Ninetales. Humph. Sasuke did not reply, but looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle, showing his tsundere style. Gaara. Sasuke didn't have much time to be arrogant. Seeing Gaara defeated, Temari and Kankuro ignored the dangers around them and rushed out of the siege and came to Gaara's side. Sasuke and Naruto didn't attack the two. At this time, their minds were all on Konoha village. They won the battle against Shukaku here, and the next thing to see is what happened inside the village. The battle inside the village can actually be said to be one-sided. A large number of Anbu and Jonin learned martial arts and sword control techniques, and they can do everything from long-range attacks to close combat. And don't forget that the leader of the route at this time was a fake shadow clone of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Therefore, in this war, unlike the original route ninjas who retreat, they were thrown into the battlefield as soon as the war started. The damage suffered by Konoha at this time was much smaller than in the original. If nothing unexpected happened, Konoha would have won this defense battle. We lost. Seeing the situation take a sharp turn for the worse, Maki chose to admit defeat directly. The fourth Kazekage was disguised by Orochimaru. Shukaku was defeated by Naruto and Sasuke. Konoha had so many masters. What was the point of fighting? Time passed slowly. With the surrender of the Sand Ninja, a small number of Sound Ninja could not cause any big waves. However, the battle inside the four purple flame formation had just begun. Just when Naruto and Sasuke dealt with Shukaku, Orochimaru took advantage of Jiraiya and the third generation's distraction and used the impure world reincarnation. Fortunately, Jiraiya reacted quickly and pressed the third coffin down. However, in the end, the first generation and the second generation still walked out of the coffin, which was unchanged from the original work. Unforgivable, Orochimaru. How dare you play with the souls of the dead? The third generation looked at the first generation and the second generation and couldn't help crying. Old man, you go deal with Orochimaru. I'll deal with the first generation and the second generation. Jiraiya looked at the first generation and the second generation and couldn't help feeling uneasy, but he still said so. After all, he couldn't let the third generation, an old man, deal with two people. After dealing with all the invaders, a group of ninjas gathered around and watched the battle inside nervously. Damn it. What's going on? Jiraiya once again dodged the wood escape of the first generation. They actually recovered automatically? Hahaha, even Jiraiya can't do it. Seeing Jiraiya's embarrassment, Orochimaru laughed happily, and by the way, he dodged the Ruai Red transformed by the third generation summoning beast Saruma. People summoned by the impure world reincarnation cannot be killed by ordinary methods. Even if they kill me, it's useless. Chapter 133 End. After all, the third generation was old, and his physical strength was not as good as before. He could only watch Orochimaru rampant in front of him. Are you going to use that? The third generation looked at the first generation and the second generation who were constantly attacking, and finally made up his mind. Jiraiya, let me do it. The third generation began to make hand seals. Old man, are you going to use the Shikifujin? Absolutely not. Jiraiya screamed wildly, trying to stop the third generation's actions. When the ninjas outside heard that the third generation wanted to use the forbidden technique used by the fourth generation Hokage, they immediately became anxious and shouted outside for the third generation not to use that move. However, they shouted quite happily, but no one went to collide with the four purple flame formation. Inside the formation, Orochimaru panicked when he heard the name of the Shikifujin technique and hurriedly attacked the third generation, but the Ruai stick turned back into a monkey demon, desperately blocking Orochimaru's progress, and Orochimaru couldn't get through for a while. I'm old, and the future of Konoha will always be handed over to you. The third generation smiled at Jiraiya and the Konoha ninjas outside and said his last few words. While I can still move, let me make the last contribution to Konoha. The speed of the third generation seals became faster and faster. At the moment of finishing the last seal, he came in front of Orochimaru and grabbed Orochimaru's hands tightly with the help of Tsurumo. Evil disciple, come with me. Old man, let me go. At this time, a Grim Reaper with a hideous appearance appeared behind Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Orochimaru was imprisoned by Sarutobi Hiruzen and Tsurumo, and could not move at all. He could clearly feel that his soul seemed to be pulled by something. I can't go on like this. Orochimaru knew that if he continued like this, he would definitely die here. In order to survive, he used all his strength to issue the latest orders to the first and second generation Hokage who were still fighting with Jiraiya. Water style, water tornado technique. The order was given, and the two Hokages took action at the same time. The second Hokage Senju Tobirama used ninjutsu to contain Jiraiya, so that the first Hokage Senju Hashirama could come back to support him. Old man, if you don't let me go, you will die when the first Hokage comes back. Really? It seems that I can't take you away completely this time. Sarutobi Hiruzen was naturally paying attention to Jiraiya's battle. Now that he saw that Senju Hashirama was coming to support Orochimaru, he immediately realized that he couldn't let Orochimaru die with him this time. But even so, I will take away all your ninjutsu. What are you going to do, old man? Hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's resolute words, Orochimaru was suddenly shocked. He had realized that the old man in front of him wanted to bury his hands with him. Seal. As Sarutobi Hiruzen continued to pull Orochimaru's soul, the hollow death god behind him began to swing the Zanpakuto in his hand, and with just one stroke, he cut off Orochimaru's soul that he had pulled out. At this moment, Orochimaru watched his hands lose their activity. After a few seconds, he had completely lost control of his hands, as if he had never had them. He had no choice but to be furious. At the same time, after the Shikifujin was performed, Sarutobi Hiruzen fell directly to the ground and lost his life. The third Hokage, Orochimaru. The development of the matter was beyond everyone's expectations. The Otanin did not expect that, after summoning the first and second Hokage, Orochimaru would still have his hands sealed by the third Hokage. The Konoha side also did not expect that in the 2v1 battle between the third Hokage and Jiraiya, the third Hokage would actually die. Damn it, let's retreat. Orochimaru, who lost his hands, can be said to be the most weak, since he became a ninja. If he doesn't leave now, does he still want the people of Konoha to treat him to dumplings? Water style, water dragon bullet technique. Wood style, thorn wrap technique. After controlling the first and second generations to use ninjutsu to block the attack, he also released the impure world reincarnation technique, and with the help of the 4 sound ninjas, he quickly fled Konoha. So far, the battle started by Sand Village and Sound Ninja ended with Konoha's victory. This war came and went quickly. From Gaara's rampage and Orochimaru's kidnapping of the third generation until the war was completely quelled, it took only 2 hours. Rather than saying that Konoha won a war, it would be more appropriate to say that Konoha successfully suppressed a terrorist attack. Due to the appearance of Liang and the internet cafe, Konoha's Zanbu and Jonin were more or less enhanced, and the root ninjas joined the war, so the losses suffered in this conflict were much smaller than in the original work. In addition to the sacrifice of the third generation Hokage, the loss of combatants was only about 1 or 2% of that in the original work. After a war, it can be said that all 3 sides suffered losses. Although Konoha won, it lost the third Hokage. Not to mention the Sand Ninja and the Sound Ninja. Except for those who were friends, there were almost no survivors of the attack, and even the leaders of the 2 villages were more miserable than each other. Orochimaru was severely injured on the spot by the third Hokage who sealed his hands at the risk of his life, but the fourth Kazekage was secretly killed by this poisonous snake early in the morning, and the Sand Ninja became the one with the heaviest losses among the 3 parties. Not to mention, there are many matters such as the war reparations that will follow. 2 days later, Liang took Haku, Zabuza, and Karen to a grand funeral. This funeral was not only for Sarutobi Hiruzen, but also for the Konoha ninjas who died in this war. On this day, the sky was dim, as if the sky also felt the emotions of the people in Konoha, and it began to rain. What are you going to do next? Leave Konoha and continue your journey, or become the 5th Hokage of Konoha? After the funeral, Haku and Zabuza returned to the internet cafe. Karen went to find Uzumaki Naruto, but Liang found Jiraiya to ask him about his next plan. My personality is not suitable for being a Hokage, but I will stay in Konoha for a while, and I will leave after the 5th Hokage is selected. Have you ever thought about who else in Konoha is qualified to be the 5th Hokage besides you? Liang was telling the truth. Konoha is now in a period of transition. The new generation has not grown up yet, but the old generation has died or left. In Konoha now, except for Jiraiya, there is really no one qualified to be the 5th Hokage. What? Kakashi? Kakashi's strength is barely enough, but his qualifications are not enough. Being a Hokage does not just rely on strength. In the original work, Uzumaki Naruto also waited for Kakashi to become the 6th generation, and waited for a few years to accumulate enough qualifications before becoming the 7th generation. Therefore, if Kakashi wants to become Hokage, he will have to wait at least a few years. Chapter 134 The 5th Hokage. Apart from Kakashi, K is not suitable to be the Hokage, and he will not fight for it. Sarutobi Asuma has a chance to be the Hokage. However, before he married Kyone and Hinata and others grew up, it was more difficult for him to become the Hokage than Kakashi. Kakashi just lacked qualifications, while Asuma's was because of his background. As long as he has a little intention to become the Hokage, except for the Sarutobi family, other ninja families will probably oppose it. What does it mean? Sarutobi Hiruzen was not satisfied with persecuting various families to strengthen the Sarutobi family, and now he wants to make the position of Hokage a private property? This is definitely not possible. Anyway, I will not be the Hokage. Jiraiya must be aware of Konoha's current embarrassing situation, otherwise he would not stay. It's just that he really doesn't want to be the Hokage. Since there is no one in Konoha who can inherit the position of Hokage, and you don't want to be it, then you have to find a way to find someone who is capable and qualified to be the Hokage. Liang's words were so clear that Jiraiya immediately understood them. You mean Tsunade? Well, she is indeed very suitable for the position of Hokage. Looking at the entire Konoha, besides Jiraiya, only Tsunade is currently qualified to be Hokage. But Tsunade Haim is indeed very suitable. In terms of strength, she is one of the 3 ninjas of Konoha. Even if she is a medical ninja, her strength with super strength is not much inferior to the other 2 teammates. In terms of background, the 1st generation Hokage Senju Hashirama and the 2nd generation Hokage Senju Tobirama, these 2 are his great-grandfather and 2nd grandfather. There is no one in Konoha village who is more legitimate than her. Okay, after Konoha is stable in a few days, I will go out of the village to find Tsunade. Knowing Jiraiya's decision, Liang nodded. As long as Tsunade returns to the village and becomes the 5th generation Hokage, the status of the internet cafe in Konoha village will be stable. At that time, he will manage the internet cafe in Konoha first, and then he will go to Sand Village to open a branch. As for how the 2 internet cafes will communicate after the branch is opened, we will talk about it at that time. Liang believed that this pay-to-win system must have a solution. Jiraiya at this time, 2 consultants of Konoha, Utatane Koharu and Mito came over. Since you have something to discuss, then leave first. Liang didn't like these 2 consultants very much. Anyway, he had already got the answer he wanted, so he might as well leave. Jiraiya, we have something to discuss with you. Not only did Liang dislike these 2 people, but even Jiraiya didn't like them very much. He had already anticipated what these 2 people were going to say, so he seemed a little impatient and asked, tell me what's the matter. The 2 consultants looked at each other, and they also felt Jiraiya's impatience, but they still said directly, after the decision of the top management, you will be the 5th Hokage of Konoha. What? After talking with Liang, he had roughly guessed what these 2 people wanted to talk to him about, but what made him more angry was that the 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen had just been buried, and these 2 people came to discuss the matter of Hokage. It's not that we can't talk about the position of Hokage, it's just that the time and place are wrong now. Even if it's a different place, Jiraiya won't be so angry. The previous generation of Hokage has just been buried, and now they can't wait to arrange someone to be Hokage. What are they doing as Sarutobi Hiruzen at all? What about the Konoha level? It's not decided by the 2 of them. This makes Jiraiya look down on these 2 people. At such an old age, they don't want to contribute more to Konoha, they only know how to protect themselves and do some small tricks and dirty tricks. In this Konoha defense war, even Danzo's roots sacrificed a lot, and Danzo himself was suspected to have died. These 2 guys didn't contribute a bit to this war. Now they still want to use Jiraiya's influence to continue to hold the position of consultant, which is simply shameless. If Jiraiya really becomes the 5th generation Hokage, the first ones to be cleared are these 2 people. and Jiraiya dares to bet that Mitokadoen and Utatane Koharu must not have discussed the matter of the 5th generation Hokage with people from big families such as Hyuga Hayashi. They must think that only by taking the initiative and investing first can their positions be secure. Isn't it true that the performance of the two has already displeased many people? Jiraiya is not the first, nor the last. I will not be the 5th Hokage. You have found the wrong person. But, after saying that, Jiraiya left without giving the two a chance to speak. What should we do now? Jiraiya's attitude was unexpected by the two. In their opinion, there is no one who doesn't like power. As long as they say the candidate for the 5th Hokage, Jiraiya will definitely agree. Hiruzen just left. It's understandable that Jiraiya is in a bad mood. Let's talk to him in a few days. Well, that's the only way. After the funeral, Konoha village organized a team to repair some of the damaged areas. Because Konoha's losses were not very large this time, and it showed a very strong combat effectiveness in the war, such performance not only did not reduce Konoha's tasks, but increased them. The current situation is that those who should do the tasks, and those who should repair the repairs do the repairs. It is completely impossible to tell that they had just experienced a war a few days ago. It seems that the death of Sarutobi Hiruzen did not affect the operation of Konoha at all. It will be what it is. After 3 days of silence, Liang's internet cafe is bustling again. Uncle, you have to help me think of a solution. I can't live without him. In the internet cafe, Naruto was holding his magic sword and was crying and telling Liang something. I'm sorry, I can't do anything. Uncle, I don't want him to die. I can't live without him. Suck MD, isn't it just a primary magic sword? You talk as if Sasuke's going to die. Also, don't wipe your snot on me. Uncle, is there really no way? Liang shrugged and said, there's really no way, but if you use it slowly, it can still be used for a long time. How long can it last? Hearing that his magic sword was still usable, Naruto immediately opened his eyes wide and looked at Liang, wanting to get a satisfactory answer from him. Unfortunately, Liang disappointed him. I don't know. It may still be used for a year or two, or it may break down in the next moment. It's hard to say. If I have to spend 1 million taels to buy a new one, I might as well not live. Looking at Naruto throwing a tantrum, Liang was a little helpless. After all, the system did not have a repair function. Chapter 135 Battle by the Lake. It turns out that Naruto was so sad because his weapon was going to break. Liang had said that a primary magic sword could be used with the 10,000 swords technique 3 times before it would be completely damaged. However, Naruto's magic sword was already broken after only using the 10,000 swords technique twice, as if the magic sword would be completely damaged if a little force was applied. For this reason, Naruto wanted Liang to replace him with a new magic sword. Liang certainly disagreed, and then Naruto asked Liang to repair it. The system didn't have any functions, so it naturally couldn't be repaired. Naruto should be blamed. The primary magic sword was originally overloaded with the 10,000 swords technique, and Naruto himself was outputting chakra at the limit. With both approaches, the material of the primary magic sword naturally couldn't withstand it. I think you should work hard to complete the tasks to earn money, and buy a new one. Boom. Liang originally wanted to motivate Naruto and let him work hard to complete the tasks to earn money and then buy a new one. After all, Sasuke can't buy you another one for no reason. This is not the way to be a sucker. But before he could finish his words, a loud noise was heard. Liang looked at the direction where the sound came from and then silently calculated the days. Since they can make such a commotion, it should be Itachi and Kisame who are here. In the original work, Itachi and Kisame came to Konoha village. On the surface, they came for the Nine Tails, but secretly, Itachi came back to warn the Konoha high-level leaders headed by Danzo. Tell them that he is not dead yet, so don't do anything to Sasuke. Thinking of this, Liang turned his head again, looking at Sasuke who was still playing games, and didn't know whether he should tell him that Itachi was back. After thinking for a while, Liang still didn't tell Sasuke, but said to Bei, you open the store, I'll go out for a while. After that, the flying sword flew into the sky. Uncle, don't leave, I haven't finished talking yet. Obviously, Naruto wants Liang to compensate for his losses. It was clearly said that the magic sword would be completely damaged after 3 uses, but now it is on the verge of being completely damaged after only 2 uses. Since it cannot be repaired, it is always better to buy a discount when buying a magic sword. Naruto, who felt that the deal had not been concluded, also drew out his magic sword, stepped on it carefully, and followed Liang. This kid. Looking at Naruto who followed him, Liang shook his head and said nothing more. At this time, a battle was taking place in a small lake not far from Liang's internet cafe. Just like the original, the two sides were Kurenoi vs Uchiha Itachi, Sarutobi Asuma vs Shigeki Kisame. The only difference from the original was that Kurenoi did not use illusions on Uchiha Itachi, but used the sword control technique plus martial arts close combat. In fact, Liang never understood it when he watched the anime. The Uchiha clan with the Sharingan itself has a certain resistance to illusions, not to mention Uchiha Itachi with the Mangeki Sharingan. Even if Kurenoi didn't know that Itachi's Sharingan was a Mangeki, even an ordinary 3 Magatama Sharingan could not be confused by ordinary illusions. In the original work, when facing the opponent Itachi, Yuhi Kurenoi actually used illusion to attack directly. How could she be so confident that her illusion could attack the Uchiha family? As a result, everyone knows that it was defeated by a rebound of Uchiha Itachi's illusion. It was easy and stress-free. The current Kurenoi is much smarter than the Kurenoi in the original work. She knows that the illusion she is good at will not work in front of Uchiha Itachi, so she simply gives up illusion and directly uses physical skills to fight. It must be said that compared with ninjutsu and illusion, physical skills are a weakness for Itachi. It is only a weakness for him, but for ordinary jonin, it is still as powerful as ever. This is not the case with the sword, control technique and Teikai sword martial arts. Kurenoi can only guarantee that she will not be defeated. It is really impossible to defeat Itachi for a while, and this undefeated is just her illusion. Itachi will not always compete with him in physical skills. When Itachi is tired of the physical skills competition, it will be the time for Kurenoi to lose. There is no way. The basic strength of the two is too different. Even if Kurenoi has additional strength enhancement, she will not be Itachi's opponent. Asuma and Kisame fought evenly. Compared with Kurenoi, Asuma's shortcomings were much smaller. Except for his slightly weaker illusion, he was not inferior to Kisame in both physical and ninjutsu. It just so happened that Kisame's illusion was hard to describe, and his strengths were also physical and ninjutsu. So the battle between the two was hearty and evenly matched. Of course, from the scene, the two were evenly matched. In fact, we all know that Kisame is known as the tailless-tailed beast, and his chakra is also at the monster level. If the battle continues, Asuma will definitely be the first to collapse. If the battle is fought in another place, it is only a matter of time before Kurenoi and Asuma are defeated. But where is this place? This is Konoha. Even if it is on the edge of Konoha, it belongs to the territory of Konoha village. What Kurenoi and Asuma are least afraid of at the moment is delaying time. As long as the rest of the Konoha ninjas arrive, no matter whether he is Uchiha Itachi or Shigeki Kisame, I will take him down. Fire style, great fireball technique. The two sides had been fighting for several minutes, and Konoha's reinforcement finally arrived. I saw Hatake Kakashi standing on the flying sword, looking down at Itachi, and firing a great fireball. There was no other way. In order to avoid being hit by the fireball, Itachi could only abandon red and choose to dodge. Kakashi, who had spewed out a mouthful of fireballs, was not idle either. He jumped off the flying sword, holding the sword in his hand, and used his family's sword technique on Kisame. Thundercut. Kisame reacted quickly, waving his weapon Samehada to force Asuma back, and then tried to take the opportunity to dodge. But at this time, it seemed a little too late. The reason why this sword technique is called Thundercut is mainly because it is fast. Puff. Fortunately, Kisame had a dodging action, and Kakashi's attack only cut Kisame's small flesh. If his reaction was a little slower, he would probably be cut in half by Kakashi. What happened in Konoha? Why is everyone holding a long sword? And the material of this sword is also very good. It seems that it can fly. Itachi was not worried about Kisame's injury. He was just a little surprised that, whether it was Kurenai, Asuma or Kakashi who just arrived, they all carried a long sword. And from the confrontation between Asuma and Kisame, it can be seen that the material of this sword should be very good, otherwise it would have been chopped off by Sumehada. And, did Kakashi just come down from the sky? This must be because I went back to Konoha in the wrong way. I don't want to be a good ninja, but to be a samurai. Just when Itachi began to doubt whether he had come to the wrong place, Kakashi had finished pretending and came to Kurenai with Asuma, looking at Itachi vigilantly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136, The Talented Akatsuki Organization. By the small lake, Kakashi, Asuma and Kurenai Yuhi were staring at Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame with a vigilant look. Itachi, I'm in so much pain. Can I kill them? Looking at Kisame's still bleeding waist, Itachi felt that Kakashi was too much. He couldn't cut anywhere else, but he had to cut Kisame's waist. This was related to a man's dignity. No wonder Kisame looked murderous. Kisame, don't be impulsive. Okay. Itachi and Kisame finished their whispered communication, and Kakashi spoke over there. Uchiha Itachi, as a rebel ninja, why did you come back? Don't ask too much. I came back this time for my own purpose. Itachi was thinking about something in his heart, but his face was expressionless and calm. Kakashi, tell me, where is the Nine Tails? At this moment, Kakashi's heart was like 10,000 alpacas running through. Brother, this is Konoha, I'm a Jonin of Konoha, and as usual, I will ask you what's wrong with you, a rebel ninja, coming back to the village? You actually told me not to ask any more questions. Besides, didn't you just say your purpose? If the battle just now hadn't proved Itachi's strength, Kakashi would have thought he was pretending. How could it be like this? He was still hiding something in the previous sentence, but he directly exposed his purpose in the next sentence. Even a newly graduated genin wouldn't be so ridiculous. Well, it's not that there is no such thing. Uzumaki Naruto, this weirdo, would do some tricks from time to time. It's just that Uzumaki Naruto is a special case. Itachi is an elite ninja, and he can't make such a huge mistake. At this moment, Kakashi had already doubted Itachi. But even if he doubted, he wouldn't say anything stupidly. Instead, he followed up Itachi's question and asked, are you sure you want to find Uzumaki Naruto? Oh, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki you guys are talking about? Here he's above us. Huh. Now it was Itachi's turn to be dumbfounded. The reason why he was so happy to tell his purpose was to let Kakashi and the others hide the Nine-Tails, so that he wouldn't be embarrassed when the time comes. Now, not only did Kakashi not do what he thought, he also said the name of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. At this moment, Itachi really wanted to yell in Kakashi's ear, "Big teammates. Kisame, keep an eye on them." No problem. Fearing that Kakashi would cheat, Itachi warned Kisame and looked up. There were two people standing on flying swords above their heads. Judging from the physical characteristics, the yellow-haired kid should be the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Naruto. As for the ordinary looking guy next to him, Itachi didn't know him. Knowing that the Nine-Tails was right above their heads, Itachi was really not calm. Kakashi, aren't you afraid that the Nine-Tails will be captured by us? Captured? Not sure if it was his illusion. Itachi looked at Kakashi's weird eyes and felt as if he was underestimated. And what's wrong with you, Hang and Asuma? If you want to go to the toilet, just say it directly. You don't have to hold it in so hard that your face turned red. Kakashi, well, if your goal is to capture Naruto, then you can go now. We will never stop you. Hang, Asuma, that's right. We will never stop you. Are you kidding? With Liang next to Naruto, if Itachi can capture Naruto, then he, Hatake Kakashi, will change his name from now on to Hatake Wuwake. Huh. Why is he called this crappy name? At this moment, not only Itachi felt weird, but even Kisame, who never liked to use his brain, felt that something was wrong. What's going on? We are here to capture the Nine-Tails. Not only did you not hide the Nine-Tails, but you also let him appear so openly. We are going to capture you, and you don't stop us. This is not right no matter how you look at it. Xiu at this time, the Konoha Anbu finally arrived and directly surrounded Itachi and Hishigaki Kisame. These Anbu would not talk to Itachi properly, but would directly attack. Kisame. Understood. Water style. Who will build a dam? Big explosion water wave. Seeing the arrival of the Anbu, Itachi also knew that he should retreat, otherwise he and Kisame would really have to stay here. Kisame was very powerful. After receiving Itachi's instructions to retreat, he quickly formed a seal and used this ninjutsu. With the successful performance of the ninjutsu, Kisame continuously spit out enough water from his mouth to flood a small village. With this amount of water, if Kisame could join the sand village, the whole village would not lack water. Well, this water may have a little taste, but compared to water resources that are more precious than gold, this little taste is not a big deal. Standing on the flying sword, Liang watched Kisame spraying water and kept thinking wildly. Below, Kisame's abnormal amount of water directly forced the ninjas to start practicing defense. If this water is not intercepted, it will definitely flood the surrounding land. So, when the ninjas performed the earth escape ninjutsu, Kisame and Itachi left so easily. In fact, Hang and Asuma wanted to chase them. With such a group of Anbu, they only needed to stop Itachi and Kisame. But they were stopped by Kakashi. Looking at the two people with doubts, Kakashi said softly, "I will explain it to you later. Uncle, this guy who sprays water is so powerful. How can he spray such a large amount of water from his stomach?" After watching the good show, Liang naturally returned to the internet cafe. It is obvious that Naruto was shocked by the amount of water Kisame produced, and he repeatedly asked Liang to get the answer from him. To be honest, this question is not only what Naruto wants to know, but also what Liang wants to know. Liang has not seen the amount of water produced by the second generation Hokage at his peak, but the amount of water produced by Kisame seems outrageous to him. The small body sprays a lot of water. This ninjutsu can already be used to transform the environment. If the Sand Village knew that Kisame could spray a river, they would definitely not be stingy with money, and would definitely give a price that would satisfy Kisame and the small organization. Unfortunately, the Akatsuki organization's pattern is not good. Obviously, there are so many excellent laborers, but they only want to kill the rebels to make money. It's a waste of talent. Kisame didn't say that the large amount of water could be used to transform some places that lack water. Scorpion, a genius puppeteer, if he is willing, it is a very good idea to sell his art. If he encounters a good script, what about purely martial arts is simply weak. Hidden, a cult leader, if he is given full freedom to preach with the cruelty of the ninja world, he will definitely attract a group of believers. With believers, why are you afraid of not having money? Deidara, a blast ninja, as long as he is willing to sell figures, he can make money just as quickly. So, obviously there are so many talents who can make money. Why do they choose to kill the rebels to make money? Does Kakuzu look like an honest man? Thinking about it again, all the money that Kakuzu earned was used by Konan to buy detonating talismans. Liang really wanted to say to him, "Kakuzu, you are so pitiful." Chapter 137 Liang, I can fly. What can you do to me? What water spraying guy? Because he was playing games, Sasuke didn't go to the lake with Liang. Now, after hearing Naruto and Liang's chat, he immediately became interested. "Sasuke, let me tell you, just now my uncle and I saw two enemies by the lake. One of them had a shark-like face and used a ninjutsu. The amount of water was even more than the water in the lake." Enemy? Sasuke ignored Naruto's exaggerated expression. Instead, the word enemy aroused his interest. Konoha had just experienced a defensive battle, and new enemies appeared so quickly. This made him want to know who was so fearless that he dared to come to Konoha to cause trouble. I don't know these two people. By the way, why don't we ask the amazing Uncle Liang? Seeing that the two little guys were looking at him, Liang simply said it directly. These two guys are famous S-class rebels in the ninja world. The one with the shark face is called Hishigaki Kisame, an S-class rebel from the Hidden Mist village. As for the other one, Liang paused here deliberately, whetting their appetites, before looking at Sasuke with a serious face and said, the other one is called Uchiha Itachi, an S-class rebel from Konoha village. When Naruto heard Liang mention Uchiha Itachi, not only was he stunned, but even the others who were still playing games were stunned. The name Uchiha Itachi is well known in Konoha village. Itachi himself is a super genius. He entered school at the age of 6, graduated at the age of 7, opened his Sharingan at the age of 8, became a Chunin at the age of 10, joined the Anbu at the age of 11, awakened his Manjaki Sharingan half a year later, and at the age of 13, he destroyed the Uchiha clan for some purpose, and joined the Akatsuki organization. Especially after he destroyed his own clan, his name spread throughout the ninja world. At this time, everyone in the internet cafe was shocked that Itachi was back. Only Uchiha Sasuke showed the slightest shock. Instead, he frowned and asked calmly, "Boss, is there anything else?" Although he was furious, he had to pretend to be calm. This kind of Sasuke was very interesting to Liang, so he didn't mind talking to Sasuke more. "Anything else? Boss, do you know what he is doing this time? And where is he now?" Obviously Sasuke wanted to get some information about Itachi from Liang, so that he could find him. Whether it was revenge or questioning, it would depend on how things developed. As for Kisame who came with Itachi, Sasuke didn't care at all. He came back for Naruto this time. Me. Naruto was confused. He didn't understand why Sasuke's brother would come back for him. Could it be that I have another identity besides being the son of the 4th Hokage? Ignoring Naruto's wild thoughts, Liang said directly, "To be precise, it's for the 9 tails in Naruto's body. As for where Itachi is now, maybe they have left the village, or they may still be lurking in the village. Who knows?" Sasuke frowned. He was a little disappointed that he didn't hear from Liang where Itachi was. But it was good to know that Itachi's target was Naruto. As long as he stayed with Naruto during this period, he would always run into him. "Uncle, why did they pay attention to the 9 tails?" Naruto was really curious. Most people would not have time to run away when facing the tailed beasts, but now he heard from Liang that Itachi and Kisame came specifically for the 9 tails, which made him curious. Well, it's a long story. If you want to know the whole story, how about it? Well, you have to pay more. TSK, uncle, a profiteer. Naruto himself didn't have much money. Didn't you see him grinding Liang for a primary magic sword? How much? Naruto didn't have money, but Sasuke had money. He was also very interested in why Itachi targeted the 9 tails. "Well, since you often come to my internet cafe, I'll give you a 20% discount, 80 million taels, and you'll know why for only 80 million taels. You can't afford to lose with 80 million taels. You can't afford to be fooled with 80 million taels. Liang's products must be top quality. 80 million taels are definitely worth the money." "Sasuke, excuse me, goodbye." At this moment, Sasuke's heart was broken. He couldn't afford to lose with 80 million taels. This is 80 million, not 8,000. Although he also knew that you get what you pay for. If Liang could say this price, then the information must be of great importance. But why should he be the only one to pay for this money? It's true that he has money, but this money is the inheritance of the entire Uchiha family. If he just uses it to buy a piece of information about himself, it's estimated that the ancestors of the Uchiha family will be angry and call him a spendthrift. This is not how you spend a lot of money. Sasuke continued to play games with an uneasy heart, leaving Naruto who was also shouting in his heart, and the confused onlookers around. When night fell, all the Chunin and above in Konoha village knew the news that Itachi had returned to the village. Next to him was Ashigaki Kisame, who was also an S-level rebel. This news made the whole Konoha alert. Liang could clearly see that more ninjas went out on patrol, and there were fewer pedestrians on the busy streets. It seemed that they had received some news and stayed at home. Just as Liang was about to close the door, 2 figures appeared in front of him. "TSK, you are so brave. You dare to run to me. Aren't you afraid that I will catch you and hand you over to Konoha?" That's right, the people who came were Uchiha Itachi and Ashigaki Kisame. "Want to hand us over to Konoha? It depends on whether you have the ability." Before Itachi opened his mouth, Kisame said it with an arrogant look on his face. "Well, you want to try my skills? No problem, here or somewhere else. I don't mind." With Liang's current strength, he is not afraid of these 2 people. Uchiha Itachi's strength lies in his ninjutsu and illusion. As for illusion, Liang has no chakra, so ordinary illusions are useless to him. Only powerful illusions like Tsukuyomi will probably work on him. Even if it works, do you think the system is just for show? If Itachi dares to use Tsukuyomi on him, the system will dare to mix Itachi's spirit into a paste. As for ninjutsu, I can fly. What can you do to me? As for Kisame, Liang is not even weaker than Itachi, let alone a turret with abundant chakra. Facing Liang, Kisame's physical skills are useless, and Sumehara is useless. As for ninjutsu, it's the same as Itachi. I can fly. What can you do? Everyone knows the air advantage, otherwise Itachi would not have spoken directly when he saw Kakashi flying over. In the original novel, he actually gave Kakashi a moon reading, which broke Kakashi's spirit. I have never seen such an arrogant person. Hey, now you have seen it. Chapter 138, The Powerful Leaf. Seeing that Liang and Kisame were about to fight, Itachi spoke at this time. Boss, I'm sorry. Kisame just spoke without thinking. I hope you don't mind. After saying this, Kisame looked at Itachi in disbelief. I treat you as a teammate, but you treat me as a fool and get angry. I don't care if he is a fool. I just want to know why you want to see me. Can't you see I'm going to close the door? Sorry, we just have something to talk to you about. So, won't you invite us in? Yoho, there is a road to heaven, but you don't take it. There is no door to hell, but you insist on breaking in. If you are not afraid of death, come in. Liang took a step back to let Itachi and Kisame have space to come in. After the two came in, Liang closed the door. Tell me, what do you want to see me about? Sitting on the sofa, Liang asked directly. I hope you, boss, won't hinder us from capturing the Nine Tails. That's it? That's it. After learning the purpose of Itachi and Kisame's coming here, Liang shook his head and cursed directly. Are you sick? What does your capturing the Nine Tails have to do with me, Liang? Hearing Liang's curse, Kisame wanted to take action immediately, but was stopped by Itachi. To be honest, Liang really hoped that Kisame would take action, so that he would have a reason to take him down. Liang still admired Kisame very much. He is a betrayer, but also a very loyal person. He is a person who is full of confusion and hope for this world. Maybe he knows that he is powerless to change this world, so he wants to see another created world, which is why he is loyal to Obito. He is a very good ninja, hiding his thoughts, goals, and positions, loyal and perfect in completing every task. Compared with Itachi, who slaughtered the entire clan, people like Kisame have more ordinary people's qualities, which is also a point that Liang admires him. And the combination of Kisame and Itachi is also very interesting. Kisame announced his identity at the beginning. Sharks will eat their companions. Be careful of me. Itachi replied, you too. In fact, he was saying I'm a spy monitoring you. I know. The two have a special tacit understanding, which is a very interesting combination. Itachi knows that Kisame is a spy, and Kisame also knows that Itachi knows that he is a spy. For such an interesting person, Liang really wants to keep Kisame and let him try the life of an ordinary person, so as not to make himself live so hard. Of course, this is just some of his immature ideas. If Kisame takes action, he will keep Kisame, and if Kisame does not take action, then he will not take action. In fact, we heard in the village that you seem to have a good relationship with the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. The reason why Itachi was so afraid of Liang was because of the attitude of Kakashi, Hang and Asuma towards his capture of the Nine-Tails during the day. When they heard that he was going to capture the Nine-Tails, the three were not only not vigilant, but also looked relaxed and almost mocked them directly. Such a strange attitude naturally aroused Itachi's suspicion, so he and Kisame collected information about Liang in the village regardless of the danger. Since the death of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the matter of the internet cafe has not been concealed. Not only did some Chunin know about the internet cafe, but even Genin knew that there was a magical internet cafe in Konoha. It was just that time was limited. Itachi only found out that Liang was mysterious, and even the third Hokage gave him some courtesy, so he brought Kisame to talk to him at night. Naruto and I have a very good relationship, but it is only limited to customers and bosses. I won't stop you from catching him. You just need to know that I'm neutral. After this, Kisame was relieved. Don't look at him talking so arrogantly. In fact, he was just testing Liang. If Liang showed a little weakness, Kisame would attack him. Unfortunately, Liang's arrogance was beyond his imagination. Hey, Itachi and I are both S-rank rebels after all. Can you please give us some face? Kisame didn't know whether Liang was really powerful or just trying to scare them, so when Itachi said he was stupid, he restrained himself. Now, after hearing Liang's neutral remarks, no matter whether he was bluffing or not, he would not fight him. But Kisame seemed to be too happy too early. But forgive me for being blunt, with the strength of the two of you, it's probably impossible to capture people in Konoha now. What did you say? Kisame got angry again. Just now he was testing, but now he really wanted to kill Liang for daring to look down on them. After being humiliated again and again, I, an S-rank rebel, have no face? Itachi, don't pull me, let me kill this guy. Hey Itachi, why don't you really pull me? For Itachi's sake, I'll let you go first. Itachi. Liang. Kisame's actions confused the two. He wanted to kill people 1 second, but he was scared the next. As expected, Akatsuki is full of talents. It would be a waste of talent if they didn't open a circus. Ahem, let's get back to the point. In fact, what Liang said was not to humiliate the two, but to tell the truth. Compared with the original work of the same period, Konoha here is not just a little bit stronger. Kakashi, who was killed by Itachi in the original work, successfully awakened the Mangeki after being ravaged by the pixel bird. Even when facing Itachi, he was still at a disadvantage, but it couldn't be worse than in the original work. Okay, this guy's improvement is not that big, but with the help of Shianshin Guanine Mantra, as long as he doesn't open more than 5 gates, Shianshin can give him milk for endurance. Ake who can open 5 gates infinitely, I ask you, if you are afraid. Kakashi vs Kisame, 5 gate KVS Uchiha Itachi. In Liang's opinion, these two people are enough to resist, not to mention that Konoha also has a group of Anbu who can control the sword and other senior ninjas. If pushed to the limit, K will open the 8 gates and Jiraiya will open the Sage mode. Even if Pin 6 Paths comes in person, it will not end well. Moreover, as time goes by, Konoha's ninjas will become more and more powerful. If a Dragon Ball game pops up in the internet cafe, everyone will exchange Saiyan blood and become Super Saiyan. Even if the Otsutsuki clan comes, they will be beaten into slag. By the way, Itachi, I don't know if I should tell you something. After hearing the answer he wanted, Itachi was ready to retreat. Now Liang's words attracted him, and he really wanted to know what Liang said to him. Well, I guess what I say will affect your plan, so do you really want to listen? Damn, what kind of person is this? Whetting other people's appetite and asking others if they really want to listen? It's just that Itachi has a good temper. If it were Kisame, it would be fine. Chapter 139. Surprised Itachi. Wait a minute. After confirming that Itachi wanted to listen, Liang asked them to wait, but he went into the bedroom because there was an important person hiding there. Itachi, is this boss notifying the Konoha ninja? Probably not. Hearing Kisame's words, Itachi shook his head and said, if he really wanted to hand us over to Konoha, he wouldn't let us in. If he made a little noise, the Enbu ninja would probably arrive immediately. Kisame thought about it and realized that it made sense. Well, let them in, if they were not welcome. After figuring it out, the two stood quietly in the rest area, waiting for Liang to come out of the bedroom. Liang didn't ask them to wait for long. About a minute later, he appeared in front of the two, dragging the already dead Danzo. Is this Danzo? Kisame might not know Danzo, but Itachi definitely knew him. Back then, it was this guy who sneakily attacked and took away Shizu's eyes, causing Shizu to feel desperate. After giving his other Sharingan to Itachi, he jumped off a cliff and committed suicide. For Itachi, the death of Shizu was a huge blow to him, as can be seen from the moment he awakened the Mangeki Sharingan. It would be a lie to say that he was not cruel to Danzo. Originally, the Uchiha clan could have avoided the conflict with Konoha under Shizu's manipulation. But it was because of his greed for the Mangeki that a series of events followed. He also had to slaughter the Uchiha clan for Sasuke and the village. Now seeing Danzo appear in front of him like a dead dog, Itachi's calm heart could not help but be moved again. Why is he here? Hearing Itachi's question, Liang shrugged and said, I don't know what medicine this guy took wrong. He brought a group of brothers to me to intimidate me and let me hand over the internet cafe. I have always been a timid person. Since I know that someone is coveting this internet cafe, I might as well cut off the source. In this way, I don't have to worry about being afraid that one day this internet cafe will be named after Danzo. Liang said lightly, but it was indeed very exciting to Kisame and Itachi. This is Danzo, a member of the Konoha Elders, the leader of the Root, and a good friend of the third Hokage, Shimura Danzo. Such a high-ranking and powerful person seems to be dispensable in Liang's mouth, as if these rights and positions are fake. Even without these backgrounds, Danzo is also a veteran jonin, and he has the strength of an elite ninja. Such a person was thrown at their feet by Liang like garbage. How can this be seen as un-ninja? Moreover, Danzo was brought to the internet cafe by you. Didn't those Root members look for him? Didn't Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is also your friend, come to you to question you? What kind of strength does Liang have to capture a high-level person in Konoha village so unscrupulously, and he is not afraid of retaliation? What kind of timidity is there? This operation of directly cutting off the source is simply 999. It's a slip. The more Itachi thought about it, the more he felt that it was a very wise decision not to let Kisame take action to test it. Sarutobi Hiruzen is dead, and Danzo is almost dead here, so when will you return to Konoha? Liang's words sounded like a joke. He asked a guy who had massacred a clan and became an S-rank rebel when he would return. This was not a joke, it was a joke. I don't understand. Itachi looked very calm on the surface, but he was panicking inside. Since Liang could ask this question, he must have known something, otherwise he would not ask this question. Itachi's identity was a highly confidential matter in Konoha, and only Sarutobi Hiruzen and a few senior staff knew it. How did Liang know it? Did Sarutobi Hiruzen or Danzo tell him? Shaking his head, Itachi thought it was impossible. If his information was leaked so easily, then Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo would not be worthy of being ninjas. Although Itachi despised Danzo's character, it was obviously impossible for him to betray him so easily. After all, he was still useful to Konoha. Valuable people would not be betrayed so easily, unless they would get higher benefits after betraying him. Looking at Danzo on the ground, it was obvious that he did not gain any benefit, so this was definitely not leaked from Danzo. If Danzo did not leak, then Sarutobi Hiruzen would have no need to. He is the third Hokage of Konoha, and he would not leak the secret just for this reason. So what went wrong? Don't think about it. No one leaked the secret. I naturally have my own intelligence channels. Just like Kisame knows that you are a spy of the Akatsuki organization, is it possible that his knowledge of you is also leaked to him by others? You also know about the Akatsuki organization? Regarding his identity as a spy, Itachi did not continue to struggle, but looked at Liang in surprise. There are actually 3 reasons why he came to Konoha village during this period. The first reason is naturally because of Sasuke. He wants to let the top leaders of Konoha know that he, Uchiha Itachi, is still alive. As long as he is still alive, these guys can't deal with Sasuke, otherwise they will wait for his revenge. The second reason is because of the mission of the Akatsuki organization. Itachi knew that the ultimate mission of Akatsuki was to capture the tailed beasts. Konoha had just experienced the attack of Orochimaru, so it was relatively chaotic. It would be easier for him to come to Konoha and observe the Ninetales. This reason was also the reason why the leader of Akatsuki agreed to let him come to Konoha. The third reason was that he had to let Konoha know that he had joined an organization called Akatsuki. At this stage, Akatsuki was still in the stage of accumulating strength and development, and its presence in the ninja world was not very high. But Itachi knew the horror of this organization. The core members were all S-level rebels in the ninja world, and even Orochimaru was a member of the organization. It was natural for Itachi to let Konoha know about such a terrifying organization, so as not to suffer losses due to intelligence in the future. It can be said that Itachi's love for Konoha has become a kind of pathology. In addition to Sasuke, he thought of everything for Konoha, and even slaughtered his own clan for Konoha. In his imagination, he also hoped that Sasuke would become Hokage. No, given the blood feud between Konoha and Uchiha, is it really okay to let Sasuke become Hokage? In reality, we have a special term to refer to people like Itachi. That is, psychopath. Of course, it is easy for us to say this. If we put ourselves in the shoes of Uchiha Itachi and imagine what choices we would make at that time, I guess few people can do better than him. Moreover, it is not Itachi's fault, but this crazy world is wrong. After all, most people in the ninja world have not read much. Not reading is not good for wisdom. In this world full of illiterates, it is understandable that some actions beyond the norm occur. Except for his excessive love for Sasuke and Konoha, Itachi's other behaviors are relatively logical. Chapter 140, because Sasuke doesn't need it anymore. What do you want? Itachi is a little confused about Liang's purpose now. Since Liang knows about the Akatsuki organization, he probably also knows who are the people in the Akatsuki organization. So, is it really okay to openly show that he knows about the Akatsuki organization? He is a double agent, but Kisame is not. He is a real member of the Akatsuki organization. Is it really okay to ignore Kisame like this? Kisame, I think you are looking down on me. Poor Kisame. From the moment he came to the door, he has been despised and squinted by Liang, and now he is directly ignored. Let's mourn for him for 3 seconds. Okay, collect. I said, no matter what you want to do, I'm in a neutral position. Liang is really not interested in the purpose of the Akatsuki organization. Even if they can successfully summon the Ten Tails and successfully perform the infinite Tsukuyomi, what does it matter? Can it hurt him? If he really cares about the Akatsuki organization so much, he could have gone to the Rain Village to use the Heavenly Sword to clean up the mess. Under this 40-meter great sword, except for a limited number of people who can survive, the rest will definitely not be spared. Using violence has never been Liang's favorite way. There are many ways to maintain world peace. You can't say that Pin's way is wrong, nor can you say that Jiraiya's way is right. Liang also has his own way of peace, which is to open his own internet cafes throughout the ninja world. At that time, if everyone has any disagreements, they can sit down and play games, and the loser will listen to the winner. There is no need to waste money and bloodshed. Isn't it beautiful? Of course, he doesn't want to talk about this ideal now. After all, he doesn't want to be regarded as a psychopath. But as long as the time is right, these people can't help but listen. Therefore, Liang really doesn't mind the various actions of the Akatsuki organization. Anyway, it will take several years for them to summon the Ten Tails. With this time as a buffer, I'm afraid his internet cafes will have been opened all over the ninja world by then. Even if we take a step back and say that they catch the tailed beasts earlier. But as the 9 Tails Jinchuriki Naruto and the 1 Tails Jinchuriki Gaara, it is not so easy to be captured. The 9 Tails chakra is backed up by the Kinkaku and Jinkaku brothers, but the 1 Tails chakra has no backup and can only be drawn from Gaara. However, Liang is about to open a branch in the Send village. With the help of internet cafe games, will Gaara still be captured by Deidara? In the original work, when Gaara fought Deidara, he had all the upper hands. If Gaara had not been afraid that Deidara would hurt the villagers and had devoted most of his energy to protecting the village, Deidara really couldn't catch Gaara. Gaara in the original work is so difficult to deal with, let alone the one who has been strengthened by internet cafe games. In Liang's opinion, among so many people in the ninja world, Gaara is the most suitable for using sword control. Because Gaara is protected by sand, this protection cannot be changed by his subjective will. This is the will of the sand or his mother. With this layer of protection, Gaara can concentrate on performing sword control techniques, whether it is the most basic sword control technique or the advanced 10,000 swords technique. There is a huge difference between full power and partial full power. Think about it, when Gaara fights with others, he stands still, with sand for defense, and flying swords for attack, which is enough to deal with most situations. With such a Gaara, Liang really can't think of any chance of Deidara winning. Ahem, I've gone off topic, let's get back to the point. Take it, Danzo. I have no use for this guy. It's up to you, whether you want to kill him yourself, or hand him over to the organization. By the way, I'll give you a piece of information for free. The reason why the original Akatsuki was ambushed and killed by Hanzo during the negotiation with Hanzo was because of Danzo. Otherwise, Hanzo wouldn't be like an idiot and want to kill the rising star ninja of his own village. Well, although Danzo can't be regarded as the ultimate mastermind, he did make an indelible contribution to the death of the original leader of Akatsuki. There was a lot of hidden information in Liang's words, so Kisame and Itachi didn't know what expression to use to express their emotions for a while. After a long while, when the two had digested this information, Itachi spoke. "Can you tell me what you originally wanted to do with Danzo?" "It's okay to tell you. I originally wanted to wait until Sasuke grew up to a certain level, tell him about the extermination of the Uchiha clan, and then kill Danzo to see if he could awaken his manger ki. What about now? Why did you give Danzo to me?" Hearing that Liang was going to tell Sasuke about the extermination of the Uchiha clan, Itachi didn't have the mind to worry about other things, but was concerned about Sasuke's growth in strength. If Danzo was given to him, he would lose an opportunity to awaken the manger ki. What if Sasuke killed him in the future and he didn't awaken the manger ki? What should he do? Because it's not needed anymore? What do you mean it's not needed anymore? Danzo doesn't need it anymore. Judging from Sasuke's current growth trajectory, he can successfully resolve the manger ki even without Danzo's assist. This is the fact. A pixel bird allowed Sasuke to successfully evolve a 3 Megatama Sharingan. If there are more heartbreaking games in the future, it's just a manger ki, and awakening it is just like playing. Even if he can't awaken in the end of the game, it won't be long before Boruto and Sasuke come. Then find a way to let Sasuke watch the anime Boruto is watching. Liang didn't believe that he would not be angry enough to awaken the manger ki after seeing such a disappointing future. Is that so? Liang said that Sasuke didn't need Danzo anymore, and that meant he really didn't need him. Itachi believed that the owner of the internet cafe would not lie to him. After the conversation, Itachi and Kisame wanted to leave. This conversation not only let them know Liang's position, but also let them know some things they shouldn't know. In general, this trip was very rewarding. There were 2 people when they came, and 3 people when they left. Of course, Danzo was taken away by Kisame with his shoulder on his shoulder. "Itachi, what are you going to do?" Kisame has a good relationship with Itachi. He respects Itachi who slaughtered his entire clan for his ideals, so even if he knew Itachi's identity as a spy, he didn't plan to keep it a secret. Itachi also knew that Kisame would not keep it a secret, so he would tell Kisame some things. "There is not much point in me killing Danzo, so I decided to hand him over to the leader. If what the boss said is true, I will gain the trust of the organization by doing this. Even if what the boss said is false, I won't lose anything, but I will have made a contribution. After all, with Danzo's status, a lot can be done from him." It can be said that, as long as Itachi and Kisame can successfully bring Danzo back, it will definitely be a great achievement. Chapter 141 Naruto, Sasuke vs Kisame, Itachi. With Danzo's current state, Itachi and Kisame couldn't tell whether he was dead or alive. However, judging from his breathing and heartbeat, he should still be alive. I just don't know what method Boss Jen used to make this guy unable to wake up. 2 hours have passed since they came out of Liang's internet cafe. During this time, Itachi and Kisame successfully found a place to live and tried many methods to see if Danzo could wake up. What they didn't expect was that no matter what method they used, Danzo showed no signs of waking up. If he hadn't been breathing and had a heartbeat, the two would have really thought that this guy was dead. By the way, if Danzo hasn't woken up, how did he maintain his life characteristics? Looking at Boss Jet, it doesn't look like he would feed Danzo. So, how did this guy survive? Danzo's state seemed very strange in the eyes of the two, but it was not a difficult operation in Liang's internet cafe. With the existence of the system function, Danzo had to ask Liang if he agreed, even if he wanted to die. Just give him a fasting skill. Even if he doesn't eat or drink, he can still live strongly. However, after Danzo came out of the internet cafe, this skill was invalid. If you want him to survive in the future, you can only give him food or inject him with nutrient solution. Itachi and Kisame didn't know this, but they didn't worry about it. Anyway, they would return to the Akatsuki organization soon. It would only take a few days to starve him to death. When the time comes, hand Danzo over to the leader, and his life or death will have nothing to do with them. Itachi, try to see if you can put Danzo into the scroll. If you bring him around Konoha, it will be too conspicuous. Generally speaking, living people cannot be put into the space scroll used to hold items. It's just that Danzo's condition is too strange, so Kisame wants Itachi to try. Anyway, it's just a try, and it won't waste any time or energy. Okay, I'll try. As Itachi said that, he took out a thumb-sized scroll from his ninja tool bag. After making seals with his hands, the small scroll immediately turned into a large scroll that was half the size of a human. He pulled the large scroll apart, put Danzo on it, and started to make seals with his hands frantically. Sealing technique, collect. After 3 seconds, the seals were completed. Itachi slapped Danzo's body, and immediately many tadpole characters appeared on Danzo's body, and then they were collected into the scroll bit by bit. It actually worked. Collecting a living person into a scroll was the first time in the entire ninja world. Anyway, Kisame had never heard of someone being able to collect a living person into a scroll. From this point of view, it also proved that Danzo's current state was indeed quite strange. Okay, there is nothing to drag us down. We will act as usual tomorrow. I'll listen to you. What does it mean to act as usual? In fact, it was just to go and see his stupid brother. According to Liang, Itachi had already learned that Sasuke had become stronger, but as a brother con, he had to see Sasuke in person to feel relieved. I don't know if it was fate or just a coincidence. Not long after he and Kisame left the hotel, they saw Sasuke with Naruto. Uchiha Itachi. Sasuke thought that he could talk to Itachi calmly when he saw him, but ideas were just ideas. Now that he really saw Itachi himself, Sasuke didn't say anything and directly drew his flying sword and attacked Itachi. He was still a little rational because this was not a remote suburb and there were houses of Konoha residents next to it. If he used a 10,000 swords technique, it would definitely harm innocent people. Bang! Facing Sasuke's flying sword attack, Itachi did not choose to fight head on, but used the substitution technique to avoid it. Our target is the Ninetales. Don't get in the way. Itachi, who reappeared, looked at the two people in front of him with a blank expression. Even if his main purpose this time was to see Sasuke, Naruto was right next to him, and using Naruto as an excuse was also a very good choice. Awkward brotherhood. Kisame knew Itachi's true purpose, so after seeing Itachi now, he curled his lips and did not interfere with the two. At this time, Sasuke suddenly calmed down. Facing Itachi, he did not continue to attack, but asked coldly, "Why did you come back?" I said, "The purpose of my return is the Ninetales." "Hey, me." Naruto pointed at himself after realizing it, and then said with a smile, "Since the target is me, I can't pretend that I didn't see it." Shark face, how about we go to the side and play? Naruto knew that Sasuke had a lot of questions to ask Itachi, so Naruto wanted to take this opportunity to give space to the two. Interesting, then I'll play with you. Kisame also had this intention, so after Naruto invited him to fight, he agreed without hesitation. The two left, and Sasuke and Itachi did not stop them. At this time, they only had eyes for each other. "Let me see how much you have grown over the years." Fire style, great fireball technique. A fireball that was neither too big nor too small spewed out of Itachi's mouth. Facing the attack, Sasuke decisively chose to dodge and led Itachi to a direction where there was no one. This was because he didn't want to harm innocent people. Secondly, he didn't want the ninjas of Konoha to notice this place. "Since you want to know my strength, then I will do as you wish." Wild bites. Sasuke and Itachi fought here, and Naruto and Kisame also started fighting over there. Because he witnessed the huge amount of water that Kisame produced, and his flying sword was on the verge of breaking, he didn't play those fancy operations, but chose to fight Kisame with his bare hands. Of course, fighting with physical skills doesn't mean that Naruto won't use ninjutsu. He didn't miss any of the various shadow clone techniques and the Rasengan. Sometimes when he was swept by Kisame's Samehada, he had to avoid a distance, and he would also use Iri Yagama's dark hook. Kisame, who was not familiar with Naruto's fighting style, almost fell into the trap of the dark hook. "Kid, you are quite strong. Speaking of which, Naruto's strength really surprised Kasame. When Naruto did not use the power of the tailed beasts and he did not use his full strength, Naruto was still able to fight him evenly, which was enough to surprise Kasame. Shark face, you are not bad either. After this period of fighting, Naruto has tried it out. If he uses the sword control technique and the power of the tailed beasts, he really can't deal with Kasame. Of course, the 8 wine cups will also work, but using this move will have a shorter period of concentration. The time that most people think is short will be infinitely extended in front of a powerful ninja. Therefore, if no one cooperates, Naruto is very skeptical about whether the 8 wine cups move can hit Kasame. Chapter 142 Naruto, I have never seen such a shameless person. What's wrong with you, kid? Is that all you have? Come and fight me. After fighting for a while, Kasame had gradually adapted to Naruto's attacks. Although he was surprised that Naruto was so strong when he didn't use the power of the Nine Tails, he was also very strong, and Naruto's attacks could not do anything to him. Since he couldn't do anything to him, then he could just show off as much as he wanted, right? Looking at the showing off Kasame, Naruto was also speechless. He didn't expect that the guy opposite him was actually a funny guy. In fact, it's not Kasame's fault that he is like this now. Originally, his personality is a bit careless, and he will chop people whenever he wants. He suffered a lot of defeats in front of Liang yesterday. Now that he finally got the chance, he must have a good fun. Point: if I punch you, you might die. Naruto decided that he would use all his strength in his normal state, and let him go to hell with the testing. Huh. Come on, I'll stand here and let you punch me. I'll see how you beat me to death. You said it, so I won't be polite. Kasame, keep my word. Seeing Kasame open his arms and give up defense as he said, Naruto was overjoyed. Ki sinking into Danshin, using ki to control strength, Naruto took out all his strength and punched Kasame. Dragon Elephant Baruko. It turned out that when Naruto was fighting with Kasame just now, he had been hiding this skill just to find an opportunity to sneak up on him. As a result, Kasame gave up defense on his own initiative, so he couldn't blame him. This feeling of danger as an S-rank rebel ninja, Kasame with a shark face, has the instinct of a beast. When he saw Naruto's fist, he felt that he couldn't take it, otherwise he would really die. So, when the fist was about to hit him, he dodged. Bang! Because of Kasame's dodge, Naruto didn't hit it, but hit a huge tree behind him. There was a loud bang, and the giant tree that Naruto attacked was directly broken to the ground, which made Kasame sweat coldly. Hey, you are not trustworthy. You said that if you don't dodge, you don't have to take my attack. Naruto was very dissatisfied that he didn't attack Kasame this time. It would be even more difficult to attack him after Kasame was prepared. He was a little dissatisfied with his naivety and a little dissatisfied with Kasame's dishonesty. If I don't dodge, I will be killed by you directly. Obviously, facing Naruto's full strength attack, even Kasame had to avoid his edge. Just look at the fate of the giant tree. If it was hit, it would be seriously injured if not killed. I didn't say that. If you don't dodge, you don't have to hit me. You must have heard it wrong. For the sake of his own reputation, Kasame decided to fool him first. Nonsense, I can't have heard it wrong. But the one in front of him was Uzumaki Naruto, the king of mouth-to-mouth in the original work, and his level of mouth-to-mouth was obviously not enough to fool him. Since I can't fool him, I'll just cheat. Who was talking to you just now? Huh? Naruto was a little confused. There are only 2 of us here, who else could it be besides you? I mean the person who was talking to you. His name. Hoshigaki Kasame? Hearing Naruto say his name, Hoshigaki Kasame nodded approvingly and said, what does that have to do with me? Huh? Aren't you Hoshigaki Kasame? Naruto suddenly felt that the man in front of him was driven crazy by him and actually started talking nonsense. Shut up at this time, Kasame suddenly shouted and said, who told you my name is Hoshigaki Kasame? My name is clearly Hoshigaki Samiki. Why do you blame me, Hoshigaki Samiki, for what Hoshigaki Kasame said? Naruto. Damn, I have never seen such a shameless person. Shameless guy, take another move from me, Dragon Elephant Boro Gong. Fuck, I'm not going to take your broken Dragon Elephant Gong. I'll dodge. Don't dodge if you dare. Don't use this broken gong if you dare. If you don't dodge, I won't use it. If you don't use it, I won't dodge. Lol. Fuck, you dare to make faces at me, go to shit, bastard. Two flowers bloom, each showing its own beauty. Compared to the joy of Naruto and Kisame next door, the battle between Sasuke and Itachi here is much more intense. Itachi wants to see how much Sasuke has grown. Sasuke also wants to see if he can defeat Itachi. So the battle between the two is so dangerous. In a physical skill competition, the slightest difference will result in injury. Sasuke has the help of the flying sword, so he can use the flying sword to fight while distracting himself and fighting directly in close combat. As for Itachi, although his physical skills are weak, he can still avoid Sasuke's attacks with the insight of the 3 Magatama Sharingan. But this way of dodging would definitely not last long. If he relaxed a little, he would be attacked by Sasuke. After fighting for about 5 minutes, Itachi decisively used illusion to confuse Sasuke, thus increasing the distance between himself and Sasuke. Ordinary illusions could not do anything to Sasuke, who also had the Sharingan open. Only Itachi's illusions could make Sasuke fall for it. Even if he was hit, it only took a moment for Sasuke to break free. In just this moment, Itachi had already jumped back and increased the distance between him and Sasuke. Fire style, Phoenix fire style, fire style, Phoenix fire style, fire style, dragon fire style, fire style, dragon fire style. After the physical skills were fought, the next step was naturally ninjutsu. With the insight of the Sharingan, no matter what the two wanted to do, the other party could detect it at the first time. So in the face of Itachi's attack, Sasuke also made the same response. Itachi's understanding of ninjutsu may be much higher than Sasuke's, but Sasuke was completely not stingy with the consumption of chakra at this time. For a moment, the two's ninjutsu were evenly matched. Sasuke, it seems that you have indeed grown a lot. Looking at Sasuke, who was just breathing a little, and his single 3 Magatama Sharingan, Itachi was quite satisfied with Sasuke's growth. Itachi, your teacher told me, is there any hidden story behind that incident? That incident? It was the massacre of the Uchiha clan. After thinking about it for so long, Sasuke felt that this matter was more and more strange, so he wanted to find Itachi to ask him clearly, instead of using a big move to kill Itachi right away. There is no hidden story in this matter. It is indeed me who killed my father, mother and the rest of the people of the same clan. Hearing this, Sasuke gritted his teeth hard. He didn't believe that there was no hidden story in this matter. The biggest flaw was that Konoha did not react at all to such a big thing. Itachi was only 13 years old at the time. Even if he was very powerful, he couldn't kill his own people without making any noise. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143, The Truth About the Uchiha Clan's Extermination. Among the tribe members killed on the night of the extermination, there were many Jonins with 3 Magatama Sharingan, so when Itachi took action, there would be no possibility of no movement. So, what was the reason for Konoha not to react? This is very thought-provoking. If you don't tell me, then I will check it myself. After having his own doubts, Sasuke didn't want to kill Itachi so much. At least Itachi couldn't die before the matter was clear. It's up to you. If it were before, Itachi would definitely stop Sasuke from investigating the truth, because it would be very dangerous. Now it's different. The 3rd generation Hokage died, and Danzo is in his hands. As long as he doesn't die, and shows up from time to time, the remaining few rotten fish and shrimps in Konoha will surely not dare to touch Sasuke. What's more, Sasuke is no longer an ordinary genin now, and he is not someone who can be bullied by anyone. The battle between the two brothers came to an end. When Itachi came to the place where Kisame and Naruto fought, he happened to see the two of them arguing like elementary school students. Kisame, let's go. In order to prevent Kisame from further embarrassment, Itachi quickly called him to leave. Coming, Itachi. Kisame didn't want to continue arguing with Naruto. It was because Naruto was quite strong that he couldn't beat Naruto if he didn't take him seriously. but once he got serious, the fight would be a big one. At that time, it would not be him against Naruto, but Naruto and the Konoha ninjas against him. In order to avoid being beaten up, he was so shameless to argue with Naruto. What if someone else tried? If you dare to talk to Kisame like this, you will beat the shit out of him. Itachi took Kisame away from Konoha. The goal this time had been achieved. There was no point in staying in Konoha. It was enough to know that Sasuke was living a good life now. After Itachi and Kisame left, Naruto found Sasuke standing there in deep thought and said carelessly, "Your brother is not as bad as the rumors say." "You think so too?" Of course, Kurama didn't sense any ill will from him. Itachi said that his goal in coming to Konoha this time was Naruto, but in fact, his real goal was to show his face to protect Sasuke, so he had no ill will towards Naruto or Sasuke. Kurama has the ability to sense ill will, which Naruto has known for a long time, so the first time he saw Itachi, he asked Kurama whether Itachi had any ill will towards them. The result was very good. Itachi had no ill will. I will definitely find out the truth about the Uchiha clan extermination. Hearing from Naruto that Itachi had no ill will towards him, Sasuke was more determined to find out the truth. So, why don't we ask the magical uncle? Will Boss J tell me the truth? Let's try. It doesn't cost anything anyway. You want to know the truth about the Uchiha clan's extermination? Okay, 10 million taels for information. Without Itachi and Kisame blocking the way, Sasuke and Naruto quickly came to the internet cafe and asked Liang directly for information. It was just different from what Naruto expected. It was agreed that it would not cost money 10 million taels for information. You might as well rob. Naruto's expression was so easy to understand that Liang knew what he was thinking without him saying it, but he didn't mind. To be honest, he was robbing now. This information was worthless in Liang's heart, but it was worth 1,000 gold in Sasuke's heart. If he didn't have a conscience, he only wanted 10 million taels. Even if he asked for 50 million taels, Sasuke would probably agree. Okay, 10 million taels is 10 million taels. Boss, tell me first, and I'll bring the money tomorrow. No problem. Liang trusted Sasuke. After all, the monk can run away, but the temple cannot. Could it be that Sasuke dared to defect after learning the information? The extermination of the Uchiha clan is very complicated. I will tell you slowly. In fact, there are many reasons for the extermination of the Uchiha clan. After the final battle between Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha in the Valley of the End, the Uchiha clan gradually showed their dissatisfaction with Hashirama's dominance of Konoha. They tried to disintegrate the situation of the Senju family's dominance, and even plotted the throne of Hokage. The Senju and other clans were even more resentful of Madara Uchiha's rebellion. They lost trust in the Uchiha and the gap between them increased day by day. In order to avoid causing a big incident, Tobirama Senju did not kill all the Uchiha. So the second generation Hokage Senju Tobirama established the Konoha police force, and the main positions were held by the Uchiha clan. This was not only to express trust in the Uchiha, but also to observe the Uchiha's every move. Since then, the Uchiha's reputation and power in Konoha have reached its peak. At the same time, the Uchiha clan, headed by Uchiha Fugaku, gradually became dissatisfied with Konoha. Especially during the Nine-Tails Rebellion, they could only obey Konoha's command but not fight, and were hated by those they punished. This dissatisfaction reached its peak. The senior officials, headed by Sarutobi Hiruzen, were aware of the Uchiha's actions. On the surface, Sarutobi Hiruzen advocated a peaceful solution instead of using force, but turned a blind eye to Shimura Danzo's attempt to annihilate the Uchiha clan in one fell swoop. When the pacifist Uchiha Shizu was ambushed by Danzo and committed suicide, a peaceful solution was no longer possible, but Itachi still wanted to make some efforts. When the Uchiha were preparing to launch a rebellion at the Nanga shrine, Itachi was watching from a tree outside the shrine and reporting to the Konoha high-level officials. The high-level officials were greatly surprised. After the report, Shimura Danzo found Itachi and threatened Itachi to exterminate the clan with Sasuke. Uchiha Itachi had no choice but to agree. Itachi found the masked man, Uchiha Obito, and planned to carry out the extermination mission, but the premise was not to attack the village and Sasuke. That night, the masked man came to the Konoha police force with Kamu and attacked. Itachi also killed the rebellious clan members at the same time. After that, Itachi stood on the telephone pole and looked at the returning Sasuke and felt sad. Itachi returned home and prepared to kill his parents, but Itachi couldn't do it. His parents entrusted Sasuke to Itachi, thinking that Itachi was a kind person. Then Sasuke returned home and was knocked down by Itachi's illusion. Before Itachi left Konoha, he threatened Danzo, saying that if he attacked Sasuke, he would sell all the information to other countries. Hiruzen promised Itachi to take care of Sasuke, and Itachi joined Akatsuki to prevent the masked man from attacking Konoha. At this point, the Uchiha clan genocide incident ended. Where is Shimura Danzo? It can be seen that after hearing the truth told by Liang, Sasuke was very excited. Firstly, he did not expect that Konoha was so dark. Secondly, he did not expect that Itachi slaughtered the clan to protect him. With a firm look in his eyes and shaking hands, he wanted to kill the culprit Danzo immediately. Not to mention Sasuke. Even Naruto felt a little bit unacceptable after hearing it. Chapter 144, leaving the village to find Tsunade. Danzo, I've handed him over to Itachi. Is that so? With Danzo in Itachi's hands, Sasuke could imagine that his fate would not be good. However, now that Sarutobi Hiruzen is dead and Danzo is in Itachi's hands, who should he avenge? By the way, what is the identity of that masked man? Can you tell me, boss? He had no way to avenge the two main leaders of Konoha, but the evil done by this masked man was not much less than that of Danzo. Well, if you want to know, 50 million taels of intelligence fee. So much. Is 50 million taels a lot? Liang thought it was not much at all. After all, this guy was one of the top 3 villains in Naruto. If the information about Obito was revealed now, it would definitely affect the development of the plot in the future of Naruto. So 50 million taels was not much, Liang thought. He thought it was not much, but Sasuke thought it was a lot. The information about the destruction of the family was only 10 million taels, and the information about a mere mastermind actually required 50 million taels. This is a full 5 times difference. Sasuke thought carefully for a while, and decided to give up the information about the masked man from Liang. Anyway, he already knew the truth about the extermination of his family, and had a goal of revenge, so he could investigate slowly in the future. Judging from the amount of money offered by Liang, this person must be extraordinary, and judging from the behavior of that person in promoting the extermination of the Uchiha clan, this person will surface sooner or later. It is impossible to take such a big risk to destroy the Uchiha clan, and then he will not show up. What is this? Therefore, Sasuke thought that at present, he only needed to work hard to improve his strength, and the investigation could be slowed down a bit. After all, the information fee of 50 million taels was too expensive, and money was not spent like this. Sasuke did not want to be a prodigal son. Don't look at him. He still has several packages of precious gold and silver. He has a plan for these money. In addition to using a part of it to improve his strength, the rest of the gold and silver treasures will be used to revitalize the Uchiha clan. Now that he knows that Itachi was forced for him, although Sasuke is still very annoyed with Itachi's decision, deep in his heart he no longer blames his brother. But it seemed a bit wrong to forgive Itachi so casually. So he decided to save Itachi from the Akatsuki organization, let him marry more sisters-in-law, and expand the Uchiha family. Well, it was decided happily. After a whole day of carpet search, Konoha did not find the whereabouts of Itachi and Kisame, which made them think that the two might have left Konoha. The next day, Sasuke and Naruto also confirmed this, indicating that the two had indeed left. The ninjas, especially the customers of the internet cafe, believed Sasuke and Naruto easily. As Konoha's consultants, Mitokado En and Utatane Koharu were relentless about the two people's remarks, and kept asking how did you know, whether you have any contact with these two rebellious ninjas, and whether you want to be sentenced to Konoha. Sasuke knew that in addition to Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen, Konoha had an unshakable responsibility for the extinction of the Uchiha clan, and the responsibility of these two consultants was not small. Sasuke didn't want to pay any attention to the two old guys, but they showed up to show off their presence, which made Sasuke very angry. If Jiraiya hadn't intervened, Sasuke would have attacked the two men on the spot. To be honest, Mitamonen and Utatane Koharu, who hadn't fought anyone for so many years, were really no match for Sasuke now. Jiraiya also saw this clearly, so he intervened, and at least didn't let the two sides fight. After the matter was over, Jiraiya was ready to leave the village to look for Tsunade. There was no other way. If Tsunade couldn't be found, he would be the Hokage of Konoha. For the sake of freedom, he said he would find Tsunade within a month. Before leaving, Jiraiya wanted to take Naruto with him. First, he could continue to guide Naruto's training. In his opinion, Naruto's current strength can be considered strong, but his control of chakra is too poor. If he wants to practice the nature change of chakra in the future, the control of chakra is the top priority. Secondly, he also wanted Naruto to go out of the village to broaden his horizons. Today's Konoha is very safe because of the existence of internet cafes. At least it is safer for Naruto to stay in the village than to follow him out of the village. But Jiraiya felt that if Naruto wanted to become Hokage, he would not be able to stay in Konoha forever. Instead of leaving the village in the future, it would be better for him to follow him out of the village. At least he would be with him, and it would be safer. Jiraiya wanted Naruto to leave the village together, but Naruto didn't think so. In the village, he had games to play, and could continue to become stronger. Why should he follow Jiraiya out of the village? With that time, he might as well do tasks to save some money, and then open a training room to practice new abilities. In this regard, Jiraiya had to persuade Naruto. If you want to be Hokage, you must have certain experience and knowledge. Moreover, if you leave the village, they can also find some rebellious ninjas to kill in exchange for bounties. It is perfect to practice and make money at the same time. Knowing that Naruto was going to leave the village, Karin felt a little disappointed. In Konoha, she didn't have many friends, only Sakura, Shiro and a few others, and Naruto undoubtedly held the most important position in her heart. Perhaps he saw Karin's loss, and before Jiraiya and Naruto left the village, Liang handed Karin to Jiraiya, and asked Karin to go with them. Jiraiya did not refuse Liang, regardless of whether he could find Tsunade or not. It was only a month anyway. With his Toad Sage Jiraiya, he could naturally protect the two of them. In this way, Jiraiya took Naruto and Karin out of the village to find Tsunade. Konoha also restored its former order, and everyone was still the same as they should be. At this time, Itachi and Kisame returned to the Rain Village, and met the leader of the organization, Pain. What did you gain this time? Itachi and Kisame reported to him that they went to Konoha to observe the situation of the Ninetales Jinchuriki. Pain didn't think too much at the time, and agreed to let them go. Chief, the Ninetales Jinchuriki is very strong. I almost suffered a great loss from him. Oh. Pain's tone was a little puzzled. He knew how strong Kisame was. His chakra could kill 99% of the people in the ninja world in seconds. With the help of his weapon Samehada, Kisame's strength was also at the top of the organization. Speaking of which, the Ninetales Jinchuriki is only 12 or 13 years old now, right? A 12 or 13-year-old kid could actually make Kisame suffer? Are you sure you are not kidding? Chapter 145, Orochimaru comes again. Chief, don't look at that kid who is only 12 or 13 years old, but he is quite powerful. Moreover, he is despicable, treacherous, has sores in his mouth, and pus on the soles of his feet. He is just bad. Otherwise, I wouldn't have suffered such a big loss from him. When thinking of Naruto's punch, Kisame broke out in a cold sweat. It's not that Naruto's punch was so strong. Well, it was indeed quite strong. The most important thing was that Naruto showed weakness to the enemy in front. If he hadn't been confused by Naruto's performance, Kisame wouldn't have let him punch. Everyone knows what happened next. Kisame was slapped in the face in seconds, and even changed his name. He really suffered a big loss. Hey, looking at Kisame who was exaggerating Naruto, Itachi couldn't help but think of the scene of Kisame and Naruto swearing at each other as elementary school students. He really didn't expect that his companion would have such a funny side. But it's good this way. Itachi, who knows Kisame's past, knows how heavy his heart is. Occasionally, venting his negative emotions with a joke is a very good way to relieve stress. If the situation did not allow it, Itachi would also like to be funny. By the way, leader, there is a very mysterious guy in Konoha. I think the organization needs to investigate his information. After talking about Uzumaki Naruto's situation, Kasame thought of Liang, the owner of the internet cafe. From the fact that Liang was able to capture Danzo and prevent Sarutobi Hiruzen from getting angry, this person must be very dangerous. Let the organization investigate now, just in case when facing Liang, they will not be unaware of the situation. Oh, there is such a person in Konoha. Pin did not agree immediately, but turned to look at Itachi. Seeing Pin looking over, Itachi nodded and agreed with what Kasame said, and he also took out the scroll containing Danzo. This is a gift from the internet cafe owner for you. When Liang handed Danzo to Itachi, he told him that Itachi could do whatever he wanted with this person. In this case, as a spy of Konoha, Itachi would naturally try his best to eliminate the opposition between the organization and Konoha. Liang could not represent Konoha, but Liang was living in Konoha now. If the organization and Liang were at odds, Konoha would be the one that would be hurt in the end. I want to see what's in it. Pin didn't care whether it was a gift or not. He was just a little curious about Liang. His curiosity about him was limited to whether this person would hinder the organization's actions. If there would be any obstacles, then they must be eliminated as soon as possible. With this decision, Pin naturally didn't care about the gift Itachi mentioned. Bang! Itachi finished the seal and released Danzo from the scroll. When he saw Danzo, Pin's pupils shrank. How could he not know Danzo? Danzo was one of the people who harmed the Akatsuki organization with Hanzo. Pin wanted to kill Danzo all the time. It was only for the final plan of the Akatsuki organization that he had been patient and only killed Hanzo, the other instigator. He really didn't expect that the enemy he had been thinking about would appear in front of him in this way. While he was happy, his interest in Liang became deeper and deeper. I will let Zetsu investigate the intelligence of that person, and you can leave and move freely. After saying that, Pin grabbed Danzo's neck and started to walk back, apparently wanting to torture Danzo. It seems that the boss didn't lie to us, and the leader really has a grudge against Danzo. Let's go. Don't think about those things. Okay. Danzo eventually fell into Nagato's hands, and Liang didn't know it yet. But even if he knew, he didn't think it was a big deal. Those who kill will be killed. How Danzo treated Yahiko and his group in the past, Nagato will now double back on Danzo. It can be predicted that Danzo will definitely suffer some inhuman torture. As mentioned earlier, skills such as sealing will be automatically removed over time after leaving the internet cafe. Because the skill level of the fasting ability is low, it was completely removed 3 days after Danzo left the internet cafe. The ability of deprivation is a top level system skill, so it will take some time to automatically remove it. It would be best if Danzo died before the deprivation seal was removed, so that he would not feel any pain. It seems that Danzo still has to say thank you to Liang, otherwise he will have to suffer extremely intense pain. Danzo, thank you all. You dare to return to Konoha. Aren't you afraid of being caught? At night, Liang was about to close the door. Just as he was about to close the door, someone else appeared in front of the internet cafe. Hey, why did I use the word again? I came here specifically to ask the boss for help. Pale face, hoarse voice. Yes, the person who came was Orochimaru and his assistant Kabuto Yakushi. Come in and talk. Welcoming the two into the internet cafe and closing the door, Liang said, what do you want to talk to me about? The boss should know my current situation. Liang nodded. Similar to the original work, at this time, Orochimaru's hands had been sealed by Sarutobi Hiruzen's Shikifujin, making his hands useless. As a mad scientist, Orochimaru could not accept the fact that his hands were crippled, so he returned to Konoha at this time to seek help from Liang. If you want to solve the problem of your hands, it's very simple. Can't you use your reincarnation technique? In the original work, after Orochimaru failed to find Tsunede's help, he used the characteristics of reincarnation technique to heal his hands. However, reincarnation technique has strong side effects. Every time it is turned, Orochimaru's soul will be damaged to a certain extent. This is also the reason why Itachi killed Orochimaru in 1 second with just a look. If there is no other way, Orochimaru will definitely not use reincarnation technique to solve the problem. If the soul is so severely damaged, He has already thought about it and will go to Liang first. If Liang can't cure it or doesn't help, then he will go to Tsunade. In short, reincarnation technique is the last resort, and he will definitely not use it first until the last minute. If the boss doesn't have a solution, then I will have to go to Tsunade. I don't have a solution here. Speaking of which, the internet cafe really has the ability to repair the soul. Let's not talk about the fact that the omnipotent internet cafe skills include the skill of repairing the soul. In Chinese Paladin 1, there is a pill that can repair the soul. Liang was just struggling with whether he should save Orochimaru. After thinking about it, he decided to save him. Chapter 146, The Pity Pixel Bird Reward. Even if Liang didn't save Orochimaru, when he really had no other choice, he could still use the corpse reincarnation to complete the repair of his hands. Rather than waiting until then, it would be better to extort money from him now. With a thought, a pill with a medicinal fragrance appeared in Liang's hand. This pill can repair some of your injured souls and restore your hands at the same time. How much? Orochimaru didn't doubt Liang's words. He just stared at the pill in Liang's hand. That expression seemed to say, if you don't sell it, I will snatch it. 10 million taels. Don't get me wrong. Liang is not blackmailing Orochimaru, but in the system store, things that heal the soul have always been very expensive. It would cost 1 million taels just for him to buy it himself, and he just increased it tenfold, which is not much, right? Maybe Orochimaru even thinks it's cheap. Only 10 million taels? So cheap. Look, this is called there will be a market, only if there is demand. Under normal circumstances, it is difficult for a ninja to hurt the soul in a fight between ninjas, so the ninja world lacks means to heal the soul. This is why Orochimaru came to Liang first instead of Tsunade. Because he didn't know whether Tsunade, the first doctor in the ninja world, could heal his soulless hands. Because the ninja world didn't have enough means to heal the soul, Orochimaru came to Liang this time, and was fully prepared to be ripped off. Unexpectedly, only 10 million ryo could heal his hands and repair his soul. It's really to conscience. Kabuto hearing Orochimaru's order, Kabuto immediately took out a scroll, and released the money in the scroll. Boss Jet, here are 60 million ryo. 10 million ryo is the cost of the pill, and the other 50 million ryo is my second term life-saving money. Liang glanced at Orochimaru, and then threw the pill to him. I'm curious, didn't you say you had no money last time? How come you can take out so much money now? How long has it been since Orochimaru gave money to Liang last time? He originally thought that it would take at least 2 or 3 months for Orochimaru to send the second installment of money. As a result, in less than a month, he has collected so much money again. It must be said that Orochimaru's ability to make money is too strong. I can't help it. In order to cure my hands, I spent a lot of effort to raise money. Orochimaru licked his lips and then took the pill. He would not be stupid enough to tell Liang that the 60 million was originally used to treat his hands, but he didn't expect the pill to be so cheap, so the remaining 50 million taels naturally became the so-called life-saving money. In fact, even if Orochimaru didn't say it, Liang could guess that the source of this money was nothing more than Orochimaru's looting. Even if Orochimaru is so miserable now, it is still easy for him to kill some Jonin level rebels. Okay, if you have nothing else, leave now. I'm going to sleep. With a snap of his fingers, Liang accepted the 60 million. Seeing Orochimaru enjoying the pills, Liang was no longer interested in keeping them. In that case, let's leave now. Kabuto, let's go and wait. Orochimaru and Kabuto Yakashi had already walked out the door, and Liang was about to close the door again. Suddenly, Orochimaru seemed to remember something, and turned to Liang and asked, Boss Jet, do you still have pills for strengthening the body and treating injuries? Liang knew what Orochimaru wanted to do, as soon as he heard it. Kimimero? That's right, in addition to buying medicine for Kimimero, Liang really couldn't think of what Orochimaru wanted these 2 pills for. Boss Jet, you can't hide anything from me. Orochimaru nodded. Of course I have, but do you have money now? Orochimaru naturally had no money. Even if he had money, he would have to say he had no money. Come back when you have money. I think Kimimero's blood disease can be delayed for a while. I will raise money as soon as possible. The money that Orochimaru mentioned was not just the money to buy Kimimura's elixir. With his personality, he must raise the third and final installment of the money to buy his life before coming again. Just as Liang said, Kimimura can still hold on for a while. This time is enough for him to raise money. After Orochimaru and Kabuto left, Liang went straight back to the bedroom, lying on the bed, and looking at the amount of money in the system, with a lewd smile on his face. It's almost 80 million teals. This speed is unparalleled. It will take 100 million teals to complete the task this time. If it develops normally, the gap of 20 million will be earned soon. However, he will not upgrade so quickly this time. First of all, it takes 10 million teals to unlock the branch. After opening the branch, you have to buy computers, decorate the internet cafe, expand the space, and build a training room. These will cost a lot of money. Secondly, there are already enough games in the internet cafe. Whether it is from the perspective of gameplay or cultivation, these games are enough for now. Therefore, Liang is not going to upgrade so quickly at this stage. At most, he will add some small games to make it more beautiful. As for what kind of small games to add, what kind of small games? Hehe, is there any need to say it? The next day, when Liang opened the door, he was almost shocked. What's going on? Looking at the guests surrounding the door, Liang seemed a little confused. Boss, open the door quickly. We came so early today, just to see the style of the monthly champion of Pixel Bird. So that's what happened. Today happened to be the first month of Pixel Bird's birth. The reason why these guys came so early was to see what the monthly champion's gift was like. After all, they had already seen the prizes of the champions in the previous 4 weeks. Among these 4 prizes, except for Kakashi's Dragon Tiger Leopard, which was a bit weird, the prizes of the other 3 were even weirder. The champion of the second week of Pixel Bird was Sasuke. At that time, the gift he wanted was the strongest eyes, and he got a pair of kaleidoscope type beauty contact lenses, which were also disposable for daily use. The champion of the third week was Neji. What he wanted was very ordinary, just simple money. Then the prize he won was 10 coupons for half off at a Kimchi BBQ. According to Choji, K once took the third team to eat BBQ. Usually, K paid half, and the 3 little strong men paid the other half. However, this time, when they were ready to pay the bill after eating, Neji generously said that he would pay half of the money, and the remaining half would be shared by the others. Just when everyone was wondering if Neji had made a fortune, he quietly took out a coupon for half off. It is said that Neji was pressed to the ground and rubbed by Tenten and Rock Lee that day and was beaten badly. Chapter 147 Pixel Bird Moon Champion Prize. Because of Sasuke's beauty contact lenses and Neji's half-off coupons, what Asuma, the winner of the third week, wanted was simpler. He just wanted a pack of special cigarettes. This wish was indeed simple, and the system did not appear again, directly giving Asuma a pack of explosive bead cigarettes. Asuma smoked not only to satisfy his addiction, but also to release and soothe his mood. Smoking is to inhale the nicotine in cigarettes. People who have been accustomed to smoking for a long time may be a little tired of the original fragrance of tobacco, so for the sake of innovation, there is this explosive bead cigarette. Hide a small fragrant bead in the mouth of the cigarette. When you bite the explosive bead while smoking, a fragrance will instantly cover the original taste of the cigarette, filling your mouth with the fragrance of flowers. This novel cigarette naturally won Asuma's favor, so he continued to work hard for 2 days, wanting to increase his points, to get the monthly championship, and get this cigarette again. Unfortunately, he failed. The monthly champion was not him, but Sasuke. Sasuke, come and claim your monthly champion reward. Yes. Unlike the paper that the weekly champions received, the monthly champions received a small stick. As long as they folded the stick with a wish, they would receive a reward from the system. Boss, can I sell this stick? Yes. Liang was stunned for a moment after hearing Sasuke's words, and then he said, it seems that, maybe, it should be sold. The system did not say that the champion's gift could not be sold. In principle, it could be sold, as long as the winner was willing. However, Liang was not very sure, so he gave such an ambiguous answer. Hearing the answer, Sasuke nodded, and then he turned to the crowd of ninjas and said, "Is anyone interested in the Pixel Bird monthly champion reward? Sasuke, how do you want to sell it?" "Yes, Sasuke, you tell me the price." It is impossible to say that no one is interested in this reward. At the very least, Kakashi, who has admired Dragon X Tiger X Leopard, and Asuma, who has smoked explosive bead cigarettes, will definitely not miss it. In their opinion, the weekly champion's reward is already so exciting, not to mention the monthly champion. It's impossible that the monthly champion's reward is worse than the weekly champion's, right? Don't say it, it's really possible. The monthly champion just has a higher chance of getting good things than the weekly champion. If you are unlucky, you will still get something that's a rip-off. Okay, since everyone is interested, then I declare that the first auction of the Pixel-like monthly champion gift will start now. The starting price is 100,000 taels, and each bid must not be less than 10,000 taels. Everyone, you can bid now. As soon as Sasuke finished speaking, Kakashi on the side hurriedly shouted, 110,000 taels. Asuma looked at Kakashi with disdain and shouted, 200,000 taels. Damn. Kakashi looked at Asuma again with resentment and shouted, 210,000 taels. Asuma, 300,000 taels. Kakashi, 310,000 taels. The fierce competition between Asuma and Kakashi left the other ninjas around no chance to interrupt, and as the price got higher and higher, these ninjas also gave up the desire to bid. Just kidding. It's better to buy a primary flying sword than to spend 1 million taels on something that you don't know if it will be a rip-off. Most people who think this way are poor people, and only rich people like Kakashi and Asuma will spend millions of taels on a lottery ticket. There is a chance of winning, or there is a chance of falling into a trap. In the end, Asuma, who has the support of the Sarutobi clan, won the auction. 1,200,000 taels. Thank you for your patronage. Point: I don't have that much money on me. Can I give it to you tomorrow? Who would carry more than 1 million taels on them for no reason? Asuma is not a retard who likes to show off his wealth, so he naturally won't carry that much money with him. Okay, I believe you. Asuma is a village jonin, so Sasuke naturally believes in him. Thank you. Taking the small stick from Sasuke, Asuma closed his eyes and made a pious prayer, then used both hands to break it, and the small wooden stick broke with a sound. At the same time, a white light flashed on Asuma's hand. After the white light disappeared, everyone could see clearly what Asuma had obtained this time. Asuma, are you trying to be a cross-dresser? No, I don't mean that at all. Looking at the things he was holding, Asuma seemed a little embarrassed. Then why did you wish for a female Makup set? That's right, the thing Asuma was holding was a female Makup set. Since it was a set, there were naturally more varieties. For example, lipstick, contact lenses, eye cream, mascara, facial cleanser, lip gloss, etc. None of these things would be used by normal men, unless they wanted to wear women's clothes. Think about it, Asuma, this rough old man wearing women's clothes. It's really eye-catching. Don't think about it, this is what I prepared for Han. Seeing that the atmosphere was getting more and more weird, Asuma had to say what these things were used for. For Han, then it's okay. Okay, it's okay, everyone can go home. It's news for men to use these things, but it's okay for women to use them. Asuma asked for a set of cosmetics for the woman he liked. Logically, it made perfect sense. However, Asuma's original wish was not for cosmetics, but for Han to marry him. The chance of success of such a wish that directly distorted other people's will was naturally very low, so the system did not let him succeed, but gave him a set of cosmetics, asking Asuma to show his courtesy and gain Han's favor, which was also a roundabout way. Asuma was quite satisfied with this set of cosmetics. After all, which woman doesn't love beauty? In addition, the system's products must be high quality, so he believed that Han would definitely like this set of cosmetics. It's a pity that Han led the team on a mission, so I can't give it to him right away. With a little regret and satisfaction, Asuma began today's gaming journey. Sasuke, why did you think of selling this? The ninjas in the internet cafe left or played games. It was no longer so crowded and noisy. At this time, Liang found Sasuke and asked him why he wanted to sell this little stick. I don't know what I want now. Instead of selling some messy things, I might as well sell some money to subsidize the family. What the hell is subsidizing the family? At present, only Sasuke, Haku and Zabuza live in the Uchiha house. Haku and Zabuza are employees of the internet cafe, and the food expenses are naturally paid by Liang. So Sasuke can eat well, and the whole family will not be hungry. In this case, what kind of subsidy is there for the family? Chapter 148 Opening a branch. After all, I can't just sit there and do nothing. During the month that Naruto is away, I have to find some extra money. Well, Naruto's departure caused Team 7's efficiency in doing D-level missions to drop significantly. The shadow clones created by Sasuke and Sakura could not replace Naruto at all. After completing 2 D-level missions, they were already too tired to get up. This cost effectiveness is totally uneconomical. After leaving Sasuke, Liang found Bei and Zabuza. I will go to the Sand Village to open a branch soon. It's hard to say when I will be back, so during this period, the internet cafe will be taken care of by the two of you. Don't worry, boss, just go with peace of mind. Please leave it to us. Seeing that Zabuza and Bei were very happy to accept the task, Liang nodded and walked out of the internet cafe, flying to the Sand Village on his sword. The Land of Wind is vast, and is the largest country among the 5 major ninja countries. The other 4 are, the Land of Fire, the Land of Water, the Land of Earth, and the Land of Lightning. However, the desert occupies most of the country, and the annual rainfall is not much. The people build villages in the oasis in the desert and live there. Trade with the Fire Country is also very popular, and it is an ally of the Fire Country. Before the death of the 3rd and 4th Kazekage, the financial strength of the Sand Village was second only to Konoha among the 5 major ninja villages. Unfortunately, the 3rd Kazekage was killed by Scorpion, and the 4th Kazekage was also killed by Orochimaru some time ago. Without the magnetic escape of the 2 generations of Kazekage, the gold sand, and the large amount of money to pay Konoha, the current Sand Village can be said to be in turmoil. It is actually not the right time for Liang to open a branch at this point. Externally, the Sand Village has just lost the 4th generation Kazekage, and must be extremely vigilant against strangers. Internally, without the Kazekage, it is the time when the top leaders of the Sand Village are fighting for power and profit, and they are consuming each other internally. If Liang is more patient and waits until Gaara inherits the position of Kazekage before opening a branch, the situation will definitely be many times better than it is now. It's just that the system is very bad. If Liang doesn't go to Sunagakure to open a branch, then he can't go to other places to open branches. Only after the branch of Sunagakure is opened, can he randomly choose a location to open a branch again. So, Liang came here impatiently. The situation is almost. I don't believe that there is anyone in Sunagakure who can stop me at present. In order to successfully open the branch this time, Liang still made some preparations. Apart from other things, detoxification pills must be indispensable. In case of a fight, even if Chiyo's wife uses poison, Liang will not be at all weak. After excluding the possibility of poisoning, Liang can be said to be invincible in Sunagakure, and he is not afraid, even if Shukaku is released. I hope Sunagakure won't be so ignorant. The speed of flying with a flying sword is undoubtedly very fast. With Liang's unconsidered use, it only took more than an hour for him to come from Konoha village to Sunagakure village. Liang did not land directly in Sunagakure village, but chose to land outside the village. After all, he came to open a store, not to provoke. Who is it? As soon as they approached the Sand Village, a Sand Village ninja called out for warning. Liang quickly waved his hand to indicate that he was not here to cause trouble. Shatong, go ask this person what he is here for. Yes, Captain. Just as Liang thought, the current Sand Village is very vigilant to the outside world. If it were in the past, there would be no need for Sand Village to make such a fuss. Who are you, and what are you doing in the Sand Village? I'm a businessman. This time I came to the Sand Village just to open a branch. Hearing this, Shatong's eyes lit up. If you want to say who is the most welcome person in the Sand Village, it is naturally a businessman. Most of the land in the wind country is desert, and there is a shortage of supplies and special products, so there are few merchants coming and going. Now that the fourth Kazakh age has died, the gold sand, which can barely be considered a special product, is gone, and the merchants coming and going are naturally even rarer. Please wait, I will go and inform them. The people of the sand village are naturally happy that a businessman has come. However, the necessary procedures must be followed to avoid being mixed in by spies from other ninja villages. By the way, I'd like to ask, do you know anyone in our village? If someone vouches for you, then the difficulty of the investigation will naturally be reduced a lot. I know Gaara, Kankuro, Temari, and the Jonin named Maki from your village. Is that so? Please wait a moment. After hearing these names, Shatten looked at Liang with a slightly strange look, and then turned back to report to the captain. Since he said he knew Gaara and the others, then go find one to come over. Now is an emergency period, and we must not relax. The Sunagakure guard sent people to look for Gaara and the others. During this time, they did not let Liang stand outside the village and wait, but invited him into the reception room specially for these people, so that Liang could rest for a while. Not long after, the people sent came back, and brought Gaara and his 3 siblings back with them. It was a coincidence that Gaara and his 3 siblings had just accepted a mission, and were about to leave the village. When they heard that a businessman had come outside the village and said he knew them, both Temari and Gaara became interested. Because of Gaara, they knew relatively few people in the village, not to mention merchants from other places. With curiosity in their hearts, the 3 of them came to the reception room and met Liang. Boss Jen, what are you doing in our village? Temari's first reaction to seeing Liang was not happiness, but full of vigilance. Don't be so vigilant. My coming here should be a good thing for you, Sand Village. Good thing. Temari's mind turned quickly, and when she heard Liang say this, she understood. Is he here to open a store? If Liang really came to open a branch, then it is indeed a good thing for Sand Village. Gaara and the other 2 did not stay in Konoha's internet cafe for long, but whether it was the magical game or the ability to practice, they were very attractive to them. Especially being able to practice the abilities in the game. This is particularly attractive. After all, no one wants to be a weak person if they can become stronger. From your look, you must have figured out why I'm here. Yes, I'm here to open a branch. How is it? Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Are you happy? Having confirmed their guess, the 3 Temari siblings were naturally very happy. As the children of the 4th Kazakh age, Temari and the other 2 can be regarded as one of the few wealthy people in the Sand Village. With the existence of the game, not only will Gaara's strength be further improved, but even Temari and Kankuro can quickly improve their strength. Such a good thing, they are naturally happy. I'll go find the elders and ask them to pass the assessment on you. Chapter 149, Still asking for money. As the saying goes, it is easier to get things done if you have someone in the court. For these elders, opening a store is just a small matter. Even if these 3 people did not speak for Liang, they would not refuse the businessman's request to open a store. At most, the review time would be longer. Now with the guarantee of the 3 Temari siblings, Liang can open a store anywhere in the Sand Village except for those forbidden areas. After solving the problem of Liang opening a store, the 3 Temari siblings went to do the task with excitement. They are now eager to finish the task quickly, and then go back to the village to play games, and practice their abilities in the game. So, where do I need to open a branch? The review of opening a store has been passed, and now Liang will start to choose the address of the store. In fact, the address is easy to choose. The main service objects of the internet cafe are ninjas, or rich people. For example, in the ninja village, 99% of the rich people are ninjas, so it is not wrong to say that the internet cafe opened in the ninja village is dedicated to entertaining ninjas. Since they are ninjas, there is naturally nothing to be particular about the location of the store. As long as the reputation can be established in the early stage, with the ninja's footwork, even if it is opened in the suburbs, it will not hinder them from coming. Since there are no requirements, it is easy to find. Liang spent a little money and hired a local vendor as a guide. After walking around the Sand Village, he chose a shop in the suburbs that was cheap and large. Congratulations to the host for opening the first branch. I will reward you with 10 computers and a standard bar. The branch system is online. Please check it yourself. It was almost as expected. After opening the branch, Liang still needed to add computers to the branch and do some decoration. Fortunately, his current budget is sufficient, and 10 computers are enough in the early stage. When the business picks up, it will also be time to add new computers. In terms of area, this store is much larger than the one in Konoha. The original space is a full 200 square meters, and it is easy to put 40 or 50 computers. So, now I just need to do some decoration and decorate the internet cafe well. After thinking for a while, Liang chose a simple decoration, which was the same grade as the one in Konoha, and then bought some potted plants and wine cabinets in the system mall to decorate the internet cafe. In addition, he also built 5 practice rooms. As for the enlightenment room, there was no need. If he wanted to practice, he could just fly back to Konoha on a sword. There was no need to waste money and space to build another enlightenment room in the Sand Village branch. The decoration is done. Now let me take a look at this newly launched branch system. Thinking about the system's previous nature, Liang felt that this branch system was probably another system that was deadly about money. Damn, I guessed it right. When Liang opened the branch system, what appeared in front of him was similar to the mall system, and everything cost money. Set up a store manager to recruit waiters, and Liang needs to pay these people a certain salary every month. This is reasonable. Liang accepts it. The monthly water and electricity bills need to be paid to Sand Village. Okay, this is also reasonable. Accept it. But every month, you have to pay a sum of money to the system to repair and maintain the computer, which is a bit unreasonable. The main store did not ask Liang to pay these fees, so why does he have to pay so much money to open a branch? This is completely unreasonable. The main store is protected by the main system, so naturally you don't need to pay so much. This is a branch, protected by the subsystem, so you have to pay. In the end, it's just that your branch system is weak. Liang was also convinced an internet cafe system can actually divide you into a main system and a subsystem. The money-making routines are the same, and it is simply impossible to guard against. What can he do? He can only agree happily with tears in his eyes. Apart from these weird charges, there are actually some good things in the branch system. For example, the physical teleportation array and the soul teleportation array. As long as Liang spends money to set up the teleportation array, then whether it is the guests of the main store or the branch, they can reach another internet cafe in an instant through the teleportation array. If you lose in the game and feel unconvinced, you can use the physical teleportation array to teleport yourself to the real person park. As for whether you will park others or be ked by others, it is hard to say. In comparison, the soul teleportation array does not have this disadvantage. If you lose the game and are not convinced, you can teleport in the form of a soul. Others can see you, but they cannot touch you. At this time, you can show the god level of the Zorn people and speak eloquently. The opponent can only respond with the same sweet words. At this time, it depends on whose verbal persuasion is stronger. If I can't beat you, I will pursue you off to death. Lol. Therefore, those who are confident in their own strength can use the physical teleportation array. Those who are confident in their verbal persuasion can use the soul teleportation array. Of course, the functions of the two teleportation arrays are different, and the prices are naturally different. The physical teleportation requires 100,000 teals. Fighting, the soul is cheaper, only 10,000 teals. Verbal persuasion is not as exciting as fighting, so it is understandable that it is cheaper. However, the construction price of the two teleportation arrays is the same. Both are 10 million teals. As a boss, it is naturally free to use the teleportation array. This avoids Liang using the sword controlling technique to run back and forth. In addition to these two teleportation arrays, the branch system also has a fusion function. As long as Liang turns on this function, the physical store will be integrated with a simulated store. For example, Liang turned on this function in the Sand Village and integrated the main store of Konoha, then a virtual space will be opened up here in the branch, in which everything that happened in the main store can be seen. If there are more branches in the future, Liang will consider turning on this function so that he doesn't have to go around everywhere and he can observe all the internet cafes and shops by staying in one place. But now there are only 2 stores, so there is no need to turn on this function. What's more, this function will cost 100 million taels to integrate an internet cafe, and he doesn't have that much money now. The teleportation array can be built first. 2 teleportation arrays for branches, 2 teleportation arrays for the main store, and 4 teleportation arrays are 40 million taels. This money is really not enough to spend. When I came here, the internet cafe still had more than 70 million taels. Now, after purchasing stores, unlocking branches, renovating, decorating, building training rooms, and building teleportation arrays, the internet cafe has only more than 10 million taels left after the whole process. We still have to work hard to make money. As long as the market opens, the daily machine fees alone will not be a small amount, just tens of millions, and it won't take long for him to make it back. Everything is ready, just waiting for the opening tomorrow. Chapter 150 Chihiro's visit. The weather was fine, the autumn air was crisp, and Konoha was as peaceful as ever. In the internet cafe, Sasuke, who did not find Liang, asked, "Where is the boss?" The boss. He went to the sand village to open a branch. Open a branch? In other words, the opponents in the game will not be limited to ninjas from the same village in the future? Among the games currently available in internet cafes, Diablo 2 and King of Fighters 97 have networking functions. Diablo 2 did not attract the love of many ninjas because of its dim color and dark background. Currently, only a few people like to play this game. But King of Fighters 97 is different. Many characters, gorgeous combos, and powerful special moves are very popular among ninjas. There are more than 50 computers in the Konoha headquarters, of which more than 30 are playing King of Fighters 97. This occupancy rate shows that the ninjas love this game. Because it is a fighting game, ninjas occasionally come to play gambling. As for this, if both parties agree, Liang will not prohibit it. Winning or losing depends entirely on your own skills. However, Liang absolutely does not allow anyone to open a betting market. Two-way gambling and opening a betting market are 2 different concepts. Sasuke also likes gambling. He has basically picked all the players in the same village. Except for a limited number of senior ninjas such as Kakashi and Kei, his winning rate against other ninjas is very high. Those who can beat him will not fight him, and those who cannot beat him do not want to fight him, so he is now particularly eager for new players to join. A few days ago, some Chunin and Genin came to the internet cafe, but facing the price of 10,000 ryo for an hour, most people backed off, and few people really paid to play games. Now, as long as Liang's branch is opened, there will definitely be many more opponents. Sharpening skills is one aspect, but the more important thing is to increase one's combat experience, so as to narrow the gap with Itachi. He has thought about it. As long as he grows to a certain level, he will go out of the village to find Itachi, then let Itachi stay in Konoha honestly, and be a tool for reproduction. I hope the boss will open a branch soon. I can't wait any longer. In the Sand Village, Liang's branch has already opened, but no one has come yet. This situation is a bit like when he first arrived in Konoha. People who didn't know would just shake their heads and leave when they saw his prices. He didn't sit still and wait for death. In addition to the 3 siblings of Calabash brothers, he also knew Maki in the Sand Village. As long as he told Maki that he had opened a branch here, with Maki's loyalty to the Sand Village, he would definitely report it to the top management, and then customers would naturally come in an endless stream. Unfortunately, Maki, like Gaara and the others, left the village to do missions. There was no other way. The Sand Village had no source of gold, and had paid a large amount of compensation to Konoha. Now the Sand Village only retained the minimum number of guards. The remaining ninjas all went on missions. Of course, there couldn't be so many missions, and some of these people went to be bounty hunters. Completing the missions of the underground exchange was also quite profitable. NND, do you want me to kidnap old lady Chihiro? With Chihiro's status, as long as she approves, the internet cafe in Sand Village will not have to worry about customers. Heh, you really get what you want. Just when Liang was considering whether to kidnap Chiyo appeared in front of Liang. I heard that you know Gaara. Gaara is the Jinkriki of Sand Village. If someone from another village knows Gaara, it must be reported to the village leaders. The main purpose of Chiyo's visit this time is to see who has the courage to make friends with Gaara. Gaara is not as violent as before, but this does not change the fact that he is Jinkriki. Everyone in Sand Village knows that the seal of their village is not perfect, and there is a risk of Jinkriki going berserk. Therefore, even though Gaara's personality has improved a lot now, he has not made any new friends in the village yet. Maybe only time can make everyone slowly accept Gaara. I met Gaara in Konoha village. That was during the Chunin exam some time ago. So, you are from Konoha. Chiyo naturally knew when Gaara and Liang had known each other, and he mainly wanted to test whether Liang was from Konoha. As you can see, I'm just a businessman, not a Konoha person. Liang laughed and denied what Chiyo said. Hearing this, Chiyo nodded with satisfaction. Of course, this does not mean that Chiyo completely believes the other party. She still needs to continue to test. Elder Chiyo, do you want to be my first customer? Liang did not want to continue testing like this. He came to Sunagakure to open an internet cafe, not to be a spy. As long as Chiyo plays games for an hour, Liang believes that even if he wants to close a store and leave Sunagakure village, Chiyo will probably do everything possible to make him stay. Isn't your place open yet? Looking around, it seems that this place is indeed remote and not crowded. Then I will be the first customer. Chiyo smiled and walked into the shop called Internet Cafe like an ordinary person. Your shop looks unremarkable from the outside, but I didn't expect that there is something special inside. Although she said so, Chiyo was actually very surprised. In just one day, Liang not only arranged everything, but also finished the decoration. This speed really surprised Chiyo. It seems that Maki is right. This internet cafe is indeed a magical place, and you are also a very magical person. Liang smiled and said nothing. It is not surprising that Maki would report the situation of the internet cafe to the Sunagakure senior management. The strange thing is that Sunagakure did not send anyone else to test it, but let Chiyo test it. Maybe Maki's description of the internet cafe was too bizarre, so it aroused Chiyo's curiosity. 10,000 taels per hour, right? Here. 10,000 taels is a small amount of money for Chiyo. After giving the money to Liang, she was a little impatient. Turn on the computer first, then. Liang explained to Chiyo attentively, and Chiyo understood everything after a while. In other words, as a novice player, the first game you play should be The Legend of Jin Yang, right? Liang nodded, and then said, the reason why novice players are allowed to play this game is mainly to let them understand the gameplay and strengthen their strength in reality, proving that the games in this internet cafe are absolutely real and effective, and not a scam. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.